people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. This is actually the YouTube channel. No, you know what time it is. It's time for another episode of All You Can Eat Chelsea. Before I get into my rest of my normal intro, I accidentally went live on Twitch, but only for like a minute. So unless you have notifications on and you were like, I don't know, bunking in Twitch and just like waiting, and you would have seen 1 minute of All You Can Eat Chelsea today. But apart from that, yeah, welcome to YouTube. Obviously, as well, welcome to the casting crew. Miz, big up for letting me know I was on Twitch, because that would have been an L.
Bro, you were doing the intro and I'm like, what is this? Matisse is live on Twitch. And I'm like, dude, you got to stop. So we got it right the second time around. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Matisse is well known for take twos. So we're all used to this. We're all used to this.
Literally. I remember let's not even talk about it last time.
Imagine the one viewer going into Twitch. That one viewer who's gone, they're live. Oh, no, they're not.
and the broadcast was deleted like 5 seconds after as well. So it's just an L on all fronts. Younes, bro, talk to me. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Yeah. Happy days, isn't it? I mean, the transfer window's upon us. Season's over. I'm happy.
And
let's build.
I love it.
Oh, it's absolutely quality. And guys, as I said in a solo video, but I'm gonna do it here too, just to double down on y'all out here. I'm sponsored. Oh, round of applause. You know what I'm saying? Incredible. Now, first of all, we never thought this would happen on this channel, but on the cusp of 25,000, an email came in that we finally loved and liked. And this one really for me is actually, relevant to you guys, which is actually important. And you actually have a decent chance of winning something, because I crunched the numbers and it's about a 5% chance, because there's limited tickets and obviously a limited time. This situation here, this competition ends on Wednesday. And obviously, as you can see, there's a signed Mason Mount shirt. That's the best prize that you can win, but there's loads of other prizes, including these two framed prizes as well, along with vouchers and a few other small Chelsea gifts as well. There's about over 10. You're looking at 12 roughly gifts, which roughly is just over 5% chance of winning, because the limited tickets is around 199. So yeah, you got a decent chance. Like I said, it's a raffled ticket. The link is in description. I also have a 10% code MAH10 as well. And if you wish to take part, and like I said, small entry fee, kind of the same price as a super chat as you would for this show. Remember, this is not live. This is premiered for all the guys that still send in super chats. I hope that's not by accident, but appreciate your support. But like I said, this is an opportunity to potentially win something worth a lot of money in Mason Mount signed jersey. But of course, as true blues, I'm sure none of you are going to flog this on eBay. If I see this on eBay on Thursday morning,
Matisse will hunt you down and break your front door
and buy it
and take it back.
That's actually a cool thing to win, man. I mean, signed Mason Mount jersey, and I think what was it, like a Callum Hudson-Odoi thing as well? So.
Yeah, Callum Hudson-Odoi and Aspilicueta were the other two players chosen there as well for the framed gifts. So yeah, check that out if you wish. The link will be in the description. And much love for you guys' support. You've been really supporting the content. And like I said, nearly on 25,000 if we're not already. So let's get into the show. Let's get into all the nitty gritty, as Younes used to say. Or do you still say?
From time to time. On a special occasion, it comes out.
Yeah. Let's get into the nitty gritty.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
You know what? One episode, I would love Younes to just do it from his car, just for old time's sake. Grow his hair out. Do it from the car. Me and Miz will do it standing up with the finger. What's my signature move? I'll go into a park with Dammy and go like kneel down and just like and do it from there, slagging off my United. Just for OG concepts. But yeah, today's video, guys, we're actually ranking assessing our biggest flops and maybe what to avoid. I think as we banter with this and rank it and give it a score and delve into our heartbreak or potential joy. This is our 10 most expensive signers, not flops. We'll decide that in a minute. I've potentially given away the answers. But I think it's good to delve into recruitment wise why this also was not working out for us as well, because our recruitment is quite questionable, and our top 10 most expensive signers, as I've got it listed out here, is also an interesting list. So I think it's important to delve into why these may not have worked. But we'll definitely rank them as the 10 most expensive. So let's get into it. Obviously, I mean, we could start from the top and it would be relevant to the conversation considering what's been happening the last couple of days. The videos that we've been uploading. Younes, did you upload on this whole situation about wanting out? I was looking for yours.
I didn't upload yesterday, and all this news came out yesterday. So today there might be a pipe bomb coming. Just take.
All right, let's get into the nitty gritty, baby.
The truth bomb.
Courtois vibes about to rock up again.
Oh my god! Well, do you know what? I think when people usually do lists like this, top 10 most expensive signings, they start from 10, build their way up to the top. You know what I mean? Let's build our way up to the top of the tower. Let's start with Mateo Kovacic at number 10, 40 million, 40.5 million. Do you know what? I mean, when I hear that figure as well, in modern day and age, it actually doesn't sound like too much. I know it's obviously going into our most expensive. But it doesn't sound like a whole heap of money. It's a type of money where there's definitely expectations. Remember as well with this guy, he came in after his loan deal, so we kind of already saw a little bit about him and what he wanted to do. His first season was, just to paint the picture, the Sarri season, the 18-19 season. He famously starts in midfield, comes off for Barkley in 60 minutes. We win the Europa League. We finish third.
That damn sub. Every game.
I hated that sub.
But that was obviously his loan. So do we include the loan season or do we just start from where he signed, I guess?
I think include it.
Has to get in with it as well.
Yeah, it was part of the deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what did you make of the loan season then, Miz? Because obviously, like I said, he was coming off for Barkley with regularity.
Look, that whole season, I think we all, I don't know about you guys, like I definitely misunderstood Sarri from the get-go. I kind of wanted us to play that possession-based football, but I misunderstood his way of that register, what Kovacic does and all of that, Jorginho and whatnot. But I think as the season grew, and once again, I would love to know what you guys have to say about this, I kind of appreciated what they were all doing. I understood what the whole philosophy was and what their roles were. So for me, Mateo Kovacic, I think it was effective for us to embed the kind of football that we want to play, which is hold possession a lot more and not let the opposition see enough of the ball. And, you know, people talk about, you know, that can be boring, this, that, the other, but sometimes that is a form of a mechanism to defend. So, look, yeah, we did get battered around quite a few times in that particular season. I think Bournemouth did us a few times. Man City did us a few times. But I think overall, Kovacic, he helped to embed a bit of a system. I think the season after, which we'll talk about, is where he really, I think he exploded. He ended up getting player of the season, right? For Frank Lampard's first season?
Indeed.
He did, yeah.
Indeed, he did. So we'll get into that. Obviously, I'm looking at his heat map now, Younes. He kind of occupied that left side of the midfield three. It was kind of like Jorginho, Kante, and Kovacic.
Yeah.
And although, I mean, we could say definitely Kovacic, it was an interesting season where fans were kind of split on whether he was a great player or he was not really good enough for Chelsea. There was definitely videos going around on socials in terms of fan cams with people preferring Barkley, obviously the famous switch. That was also the same season that Loftus-Cheek burst onto the scene in that left centre midfield role. And he, in my opinion, became the second best player after Hazard. So he ended up outshining everybody in that midfield, including Kovacic in that second part of the season. Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Eden Hazard were menaces. Obviously, he brought goals, he brought assists, whereas Kova was a bit more regimented. But I guess Sarri's system was always like clockwork, and it was like a chain of events. There was no freedom, some people would say, to express yourself. I mean, what did you make of Kova's, loan spell, I guess?
I thought his loan spell was decent. It wasn't, I don't think it was blockbuster, but I think there was a lot of attention being put on Jorginho's performances at the time. You remember the criticism Jorginho was getting? It was crazy. There was a whole split debate amongst the fan base. I think everyone forgot Kovacic had just come from Real Madrid on a loan for a little bit, because it was Jorginho that had the entire limelight, Sarri's boy and all of that. So I think with Kovacic, he actually had a really good loan. we decided to trigger that option later on. I think he's just been super consistent. He had that really good season where, again, he got player of the season.
That's the next one.
And then from there, it was, I don't think we've had like a bad spell of Kovacic. You know, there was a time like last season where at moments it looked a little bit rocky, but you look at his entire spell from Sarri and he's just been consistent, if not just getting better. And what's mad is he's only 28 now, which is actually mad. It makes you it takes you back to when he first joined. He was around what, 24, 25? So no, that first one under Sarri, consistent, not as, I wouldn't say as physical or as confident as he is now.
Yeah.
You know, now how he's able to power through. I feel like even physically he's gotten a bit stronger, but he's more confident. He drives forward. He takes players on. Back then, I think it was just a lot more things on the ball and the way in terms of movement. But that could be down to Sarri because of the way that he always wanted his midfield to play. So
I was just about to add that. He went from 76% successful dribbles under Sarri to 86 in his player of the year season under Lampard, which is 1920.
Yeah. And I was just going to add on top of what Younes just said. I remember when I was doing my threads on on Twitter, I remember one distinctly where I looked at all of the most significant ones, the chances that he's created that didn't end up being a goal. This guy's stats don't tell the truth, man. He missed out on a lot of assists, man. The amount of times he put it on the plate for some of our players, that first season under Frank Lampard, where he won the player of the season, his assists should have been off the charts. He should have had 15 assists minimum. I don't remember how many assists he ended up getting that particular season, probably not high enough, but the amount of times he was setting up players like Tammy Abraham, other players in and around, and the goals weren't going in. Oh, man. Like, if we had I know it was a transfer ban season, but if we had the likes of Didier Drogba, back then, and Kovacic was feeding those type of balls, this guy's stats would have looked ridiculous. So we have to take that into consideration as well in terms of Kovacic.
Yeah, he's arguably been, I'm not sure what you guys would say, but definitely 2 out of the 3 seasons since he signed, he's been our best midfielder. He was our best midfielder under Frank. Categorically, it was not even close. I mean, he won player of the year. And when I tend to agree with who wins player of the year, like Kovacic, when he won it, I agreed he won player of the year. That made sense to me. I thought he was very consistent. He showed up in the big games. He was the one performer against Bayern Munich, I think, in the Champions League where we got knocked out under Frank. He actually looked like he belonged on that pitch. And everybody else looked like they were a fish out of water. They looked like they couldn't handle the occasion. They looked like as if it was too much for them. You could tell it was a young team, Cobham FC, some maybe overrated experienced players as well glittered in there. But Kovacic actually played against Bayern Munich and he was like, yeah, that player is good enough at this level.
I think Frank commented as well, Frank Lampard, I think post that Bayern Munich match said there was only one class player, and that was Kovacic. I still remember him saying that. After the Bayern Munich game.
He actually only got 2 assists, as you were saying, in that first season under Frank. Season under Frank, only 2 assists. The season, is it that was 1920, wasn't it? Or was that?
That was 1920.
Yeah,
that was 1920.
Should have at least 15, man.
Yeah, so actually, no, 1920 he had 3 assists. Big difference. And then 2 assists last season, where you could say that's where Jorginho and Kante in the last stage of the Champions League, everybody saw their contributions. But then this season it went up to 6. I think this season his assists probably could have been a bit higher, but I think at the start of the season, this season, his progressive passing was what I noticed. Big change. Yeah. And it's such a shame he got injured. And this is his only issue, is that every year Kovacic picks up a little injury. Whether he's out for a month, or he's out for 6 weeks, or he's out for 3 weeks, whatever, he still picks up that little niggling injury. But this season, at the start of the season, immediately him and Mason Mount were the best, progressive passers in terms of finding Lukaku. They had the best connection with him. I think if he didn't get injured at the start of the season, I think he could have had a potential shout for player of the year, because I remember at the start of the season thinking, wow, he is looking like he's going to go with this. Lukaku was looking strong as well. He had a really, really strong start to the season. And I think he's at 40 million. What would you rank him in terms of out of 10, guys? I would probably give him a 7.5.
I'd probably give him a 7. Give him a 7, solid 7. The reason why I want to give him a 7 is I feel like stats-wise, he can do better. Like he can. I don't think the team has helped him out as well, obviously. It'll be interesting to do this same sort of episode next season because I feel he needs to pride himself and go, do you know what? I want to be number focused as well. Because technically he's gifted. Like he's so gifted technically. He can get more goals. He can get more assists. It's just the brother needs to be very hungry about it. So for me, 7 out of 10, I think. Solid performer.
Younes, what would you rank him? Yeah.
I'd go 8. Personally, I'd go 8. I think, no more though. No more. If you know what, if he didn't get injured, as you said, and I feel like in and around the times where he's been injured, he's been brilliant this season. If he had had the whole season, then you're probably maybe even talking 9 or 10 out of 10. If he'd kept that up throughout the entire season. Because as a midfielder, he's the one guy that we've looked at and gone, okay, you're actually doing things correctly. With Kante and with Jorginho and with whoever else, and the others can't even talk. But with Kante and Jorginho, we've seen lapses and we've seen inconsistencies, but Kovacic, I feel like, has been consistent. So you know what? Considering what it is, I'd give him an 8 out of 10.
Yeah. So I've looked at his statistics this season. He's doing really well. I disagree. I mean, when you say statistics, Miss, what statistics do you?
I'm talking about stats and goals. Sorry, I'm talking about goals and assists. So I'm not going into dribbles, expected goals, and expected this, that, and the other, all of the other defensive stats. I'm purely talking about. I feel like Kovacic is someone who can rack up a lot more assists, a lot more goals. I know assists depend on other players putting the ball back into the net, but you can see Mason Mount this season. He was purely looking to build up his numbers, and it's not a coincidence that he's got 10 goals, 10 assists, because this brother was really looking focused to do that. And I feel like someone like Kovacic can definitely do that as well.
I'm gonna.
You talk about stats. So I've got to do a proper pub team now. Yeah, it's the eye test. You got to go with the eye test.
The eye test, Miss. The eye test. Do you know what? I'm gonna disagree on the goals. I don't think he has the capability to get goals. I just don't think the guy
shooting technique isn't great. Yeah,
the shooting's abysmal.
Yeah, he had a really great
except against Liverpool.
Against Liverpool, I think he scored a great goal one time in the Champions League.
Goal of the season, by the way.
Remember?
Do you know what, Matisse?
Frank, maybe, I'm not sure.
Do you remember, was Cesc Fabregas the greatest shooting technique?
Oh, he was much better.
But I feel like if Kovacic just positions himself nicely in the box, get the tap-ins, just pass it in if you have to. You don't necessarily have to be.
Fabregas and Kova are light years. Like literally, it's not even like. Do you remember Fabregas at Arsenal? He actually used to be a goal scorer midfielder. He used to make those late runs.
But do you remember how he used to score though? Never. It was like rockets. It was nicely positioned. It was finessed.
Yeah,
I feel like
I just don't
at least finesse it, bro.
I think at 28, I just think he probably can't develop that trait. However, I would like more assists from him. I completely agree on that. I think I'd like him to make the final pass a lot more, because I think he's shown this season with his progressive passing, and I want to get into some of those stats actually, because looking at the percentile on F-Brief, he's actually 99 percentile for progressive passes. Which means, if you're looking at percentile, it's amongst your peers. Where do you rank amongst that? And his statistics are incredible. For assists, per 90, he's 94 percentile. Passes attempts, obviously, is very high. Pass completion, very high. But progressive passes and obviously progressive carries, which is obviously, his dribbling. He loves to do that. He loves to dribble with the ball. He's 98 and 99, 98. Dribbles completed 97. So these are his real strengths. His progressive passing this season, his progressive carries, his dribbles completed as well. Obviously, progressive passing received is a lot lower. He doesn't tend to find himself in the higher positions, and he tends to pressurize as well, which is good. Obviously, on our counter press. So yeah,
do you know what? You can definitely see that in the match. So that's not what I meant by stats. Like 100%, I can see it in the match that his carries, his pressures, all of that is fantastic. but I feel like he can translate them into assists as well. Obviously, as I said, you need people to put those chances away. Like even this season, there's been so many times where he's put it on the plate and we've missed it. So
that is exactly it. That's the false reflection of where a stat can go wrong sometimes. Is where it's no longer depending on you. It's depending on the player that you've served to or messes up or whoever, and that's letting your stat down now. That's why it has to be taken with half glass full, half glass empty sort of perspective. But Kovacic, I think, should be able to. There's one thing he needs to improve on is trying to shoot from outside the box, or just his shooting in general. If he had that in his package,
devastating midfielder.
He'd be deadly. Yeah.
Next player up on our list is Ben Chilwell at 50 million. I definitely wasn't, and I'm going to keep it 100% Bucks. I was fine with us signing Kova actually when it happened. I was one of maybe the half of the fan base that was on board with the Kova signing. A lot of people thought it was overpriced. Chilwell at 50 million, I wasn't on board with because he didn't have a great spell at Leicester in that final season. I remember a lot of Leicester fans were saying, you know what, don't really mind if he goes. I remember watching him at Leicester in that final season for them as well. He wasn't outstanding. He wasn't 50 million. But this is definitely one that Frank Lampard and his team got right in terms of what they wanted from that position. 100%. And I mean, he's delivered the goods. Do you know what I'm saying? He was very good in his first season. I felt obviously brilliant in the Champions League final, wrapped up Mahrez completely. This season, massive injury, which is unfortunate. And we've missed him massively because we saw I don't think he's on the same level as Reece James. And I think sometimes people get grouped. So Jorginho and Kova gets grouped. Fred and McTominay and Man United get grouped. And Chilwell and James get grouped because, of course, they're both the wing backs and they're both our starters. I don't think he's on the level of James. I think he's definitely a level below Reece James. Reece James, for me, is on another planet. But he's still a very, very, very solid player for us. And he's that player that just gives you 7 and 8, 7.5s. You know what I mean? 7.5s, 8s. He just gives you consistency. Very athletic. One massive injury, though, Younes. Do you worry? Obviously, as a player, we'll rank it afterwards. But do you worry about this big injury if it's, especially in a very athletic wing-back position? Both of our wing-backs, we'll kind of bring in James, I guess, in a little bit. But do you worry about that, or in terms of the future for him?
I mean, firstly, before the injury, it's funny because I remember when this whole link happened and I was like, I want Regulon. Get off Regulon.
Me too. I was going to say it's the same thing.
Regulon had a great year.
We can save. He did. We can save. We can get him for half the price, 50 million. Get me Regulon. And then look what happened. So you know what? Fair play to Lamps and to the board and everyone that got that done. But the injury, the injury, it's an injury you just don't know. It's a question mark. Like, we all want Chilwell back. We don't know what Chilwell we're going to get back. He doesn't even know what Chilwell's going to come back, It's a case of having to see what preseason does to him. And then the new season, I'm hoping because he's young. It looks like his recovery's gone really well. Fingers crossed he'll be back to normal and back up to speed. But you never know. With an injury like that can just hold you back. Even if you think you're 100%, you're not the same player. It can happen. So we just need to wait and see. But this is why it's important for us to try and get someone else to be at Chelsea in the left wing back role as well, whether it's a backup or someone to compete or whoever, but to get someone in. But Chilwell, I hope, succeeds, man, because he's been instrumental. Every time he plays, he's instrumental. It takes focus off of the right-hand side where you can see teams focusing on us in terms of Reece James and everyone because they know it's a big threat and it's the way we play. Chilwell's there and they've got to deal with both sides. It just makes us deadlier. And every time he's played, he's been fantastic. So I hope he comes back to how he was before. We can only hope. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It does balance out our team a lot more. I think when he's not here and when he hasn't been here, when you see our build-up play, it's gone predominantly down the right if Reece James is playing. And if neither are playing, then it's just shit build-up, to be quite frank.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, Miz, what have you made of this player? Because as we all said, we kind of, we wanted other targets for sure at cheaper prices. We thought we could probably save here. It did feel a bit expensive, 50 million for Ben Chilwell. But, actually, it's funny. Similar players to Ben Chilwell. First person that pops up is actually Regulon. When you look to compare, I remember there was a period in the first season under Frank. The obviously the second season when he joined. He did this. He did a lot of laughing with opposition players, a lot of smiling, even after we lost games or we drew games. And Chelsea fans definitely weren't feeling it. There was a period of time where people were like, "What the hell is wrong with this smiley player? Is he not built for success? Does he not want to win? What's wrong with him? Like, is there something wrong?"
Is he proper Chelsea?
Is he proper Chelsea? But I think people have warmed up to him. They've just realised the England camp is extremely friendly. What have you? Well, let's rank him. Let's rank him early doors because he's not got such a massive time span, and definitely with the injury, I guess as well, it doesn't help. So, what are your thoughts on Chilwell and then a ranking?
I was like Younes as well. I was all about Sergio Reguilon. I just remember making videos on Sergio Reguilon. I used to be so hyped up. There was another brother called Tagliafico that we were very excited as well.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? I wasn't, if I'm being absolutely honest, I wasn't utterly impressed with Chilwell up until I think when Thomas Tuchel took over. I was okay with it. Like, it wasn't as if he was doing a bad job. Like, I was okay with it. But I think Thomas Tuchel has taken this particular player to a different level. Like, our game, especially this season, last season, obviously, he was solid on that left wing back. But this season, boys, there were times I was seeing Ben Chilwell as a false nine at times. He would be the main guy right up front. And I'm going, what is going on? How's Ben Chilwell the guy in that striking position? But it was all because of us trying to overload, 5 in attack, 5 in defense. And it looked really good. And it kind of felt like a revolutionary way of playing the 3 at the back system. Yep. And it was all ticking nicely. Our best moment of the season was that Leicester 3-0 drubbing and then following up with a Juventus 4-0 drubbing as well. Those two were the benchmark. And it went downhill straight after that as soon as Chilwell got injured. So many things to like about Chilwell. Great character as well. Under Thomas Tuchel, we know, obviously, won the Champions League. He was a key cog over there. Then last season, the season that just finished, he didn't play a single game for England, but he was in the squad. And it took him a while to take over. There was a moment we were all saying, Alonso, Marcus Alonso, he's the one who's going to start. Do you know what I mean?
He was starting, wasn't he? Consistently.
He was, yeah.
And he was starting at the start of Tuchel's reign as well. Do you remember when he first came in?
And twice Ben Chilwell took over. He just came over and said, Marcus, just hold that, bro. Hold that. So, there's a lot to like about Ben Chilwell, his character, obviously what he was doing under Thomas Tuchel. I think the picture that really, really resonates to me is when he came back. I don't know if you guys saw the recent picture. Thomas Tuchel gave him a big hug. Almost, it felt like,
thank God.
Thank God you are back, brother. My season, I almost got sacked if you went back. Do you know what I mean? So, look, man, I'm glad we did this. And I'm very happy with this particular transfer. For me, you're right, Matisse is probably not as highly rated as Reece James. You're absolutely right. Reece James is a different planet. But Ben Chilwell, he's got his own planet. He should be proud with that planet. You know what I mean? We can't all have big planets. You got your own little planet, Pluto. We'll call it Pluto. You'll be happy with that. So for me, I'd give another solid. I'll give 7.5 out of 10 on this one. Yeah.
If we were building the solar system, Kovacic and Chilwell are very solid planets in that solar system. I can't say that the next person will be in that solar system and will be a very solid part, but we'll get to that. Younes, what would you rank Ben Chilwell's time here at Chelsea so far?
Oh, that's funny. They both move like Mars. Basically, they're just standard, nice, solid planets with a bit of red, a bit of anger, a bit of. No, you know what? With Chilwell, it's funny because when he first came in, he was a left back. Just as a left, we brought him in as a left back. That was it. There was no left wing back trying to, play free at the back. That didn't exist at the time with Lamb. So we had doubts, if you remember, when Tuchel came in. We was like, "Yo, can Chilwell play left wing back? I don't think he can. He's not that guy. He's not done it before." And then, he takes it from Alonso after 2 matches, and we're like, okay, he can. He can play, and he can play bloody well. Yeah. So, Chilwell, it's just a shame he's been injured, man. He is someone that I think would have had, if we were to analyze Reece James, for example, you'd be giving him what? 9, 10 out of 10?
100, yeah.
Easy. But Chilwell would be in the same bracket if he wasn't injured. So, I have to leave a question mark on that. There needs to be an asterisk on Chilwell, because I think in the games that he's played, he's been magnificent. The games that he's played, you can say 9 or 10 out of 10, but he's been injured for most of the season. So it's just one of those things you can't really give a rating. 7.5 probably sounds fair just to knock him down a bit because of his injuries. But
Younes, I think we're doing rating on the transfer itself, not the season.
Yeah.
So we're doing.
No. Okay, fair. No, in terms of 50 million in that case. No, you know what? He's turned into a great. I think I'm gonna go 9 out of 10.
9.
Oh wow!
As a transfer, I think for me, it's a hit. It's a hit, and we'll see what happens next season. It's a shame because of the injury, but from what we got and how he's played, at least prior to the injury, because we can't blame him for that. Then 9 out of 10, man. He's been magnificent.
I'm gonna give him an 8. I'm gonna give him an 8 out of 10. I think he's definitely been a key part ever since he really arrived, and rightly so. And you spend that kind of money on a fullback, you expect them to be, a key cog in the team. And we've seen that. I think his best moments, seeing as we gave Kovas one as well with his goals. And also maybe what he could improve on as well, Chilwell. But his goal that didn't count against Leicester in the cup final.
That would have been poetic.
What a moment that would have been for Ben Chilwell. But my days, that was ruled out massively. Anything you guys would say he needs to improve on if you could ask of anything?
Do you know what?
He's become a little bit of an inverted left back as well at times, isn't he? He's tucked inside, like you said. He took up some false 9 positions. He's
defensively solid. Like the amount of aerial duels he wins for a shorter sort of guy, impressive. Positioning, awareness, pace, recovery, everything on point. Very good ball control, technically sound. Shooting technique is better than some of the strikers that we have.
Yeah.
I still remember that classic volley. Was it? I think it might have been a volley against Brentford.
Oh, no.
Brentford. This season that just finished. We won 1-0, where Brentford really should have won that game. The final 20 minutes was madness.
There was a banger that he scored for Leicester. He put it top bins, like before he joined Chelsea. Just before.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
He scored against us. I remember he scored against us when.
He did as well.
Was it Frank Lampard's first? No. Yeah, Frank Lampard's first season. Yeah, the transfer ban season. He scored against us. He had a poor season, but he showed up against us just to make a statement. Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's too many things I would complain about Ben Chilwell. Maybe I suppose sometimes as a wingback, you want to have quality crosses all the time. Even then, I'm just nitpicking.
Even then, he's decent. He's not decent, but he's decent.
He's very decent. I still remember when he just finally took over Alonso. I don't know if you guys remember. He came on and he delivered a cross for Lukaku, and Lukaku headed that in. And I was like, oh my God, like 2 minutes in, and this guy's already got an assist. So yeah, look, there's not much I can say that he needs to. I'm just like you guys. I'm very concerned about his injury, though. Like how he's going to come back. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to our next candidate, and that is Bang.
Here we go. Oh no.
Now I had Chilwell down as 50 million because that was just a fee that was going banging about back then, but I think it was down actually on the list as 45 million. So that's why Timo Werner comes after in 47 million.
Where do we start, lads?
Wow.
Such a nice guy, but
first of all, what a lovely guy. What a lovely guy he is.
Top bloke.
What a top guy. Top.
We have to be very careful. Comments are going to be very, very ruthless. Yes, we're going to be, I'm pretty sure we're all going to be negative, but there are fans out there in the Chelsea fan base.
Werneristas.
Yeah, the Werneristas. They don't want to hear otherwise because they'll tell you about stats, the assists that he got last season.
I'll tell you about stats, no problem. I mean, listen, let's look at this player, right? 47 million. He comes in as one of the best strikers the year before. in terms of his goals. You know, he had a ridiculous output at Leipzig that I'm actually going to get up just to remind me of what we purchased and what we were thinking that we were going to get. Yeah, in the
we think a lot.
Yeah, we think a lot. In the 1920 season, may I remind people, he got 34 goals for RB Leipzig in all competitions and 13 assists.
Wow.
So goal contributions wise, he got 47 goal contributions in 45 games.
Incredible.
I can't imagine a world where Timo Werner scores that much.
28 goals in the league. 28 goals in the league, 4 in the Champions League and 2 in the Cup, 4 in 8. So he did it across all competitions. And he was on absolute fire for them. I remember he scored against Tottenham, a couple goals maybe against Tottenham actually at the new stadium in the Champions League. And
he became proper Chelsea that night.
Yeah, and in terms of goal contributions, I remember because I think he was in the top 3 for goal contributions behind Messi and someone else, maybe Robert Lewandowski or something like that.
Wow.
In terms of that season, he was incredible for statistics.
Bundesliga is the place to be.
See, this is why the eye test is what you got to go with, lads.
Not the stats.
Oh my God,
then he comes
that's
in,
crazy.
and to be fair to him, I will say this: I think Frank Lampard was using him wrong in the initial stages. I remember pre-season he got a goal in that famous QPR game. I think that was never posted out. We never actually got to see what the goal looked like. But I remember Lampard in the first part of the season was using him at left wing. And I remember thinking and he was also losing him at lone striker. And I remember thinking to myself, this is not where Timo Werner plays. He doesn't play in these positions.
He is on FIFA. Just saying. If you stick,
are you saying Frank's playing FIFA?
Probably, because you stick him on the left-hand side on FIFA. Oh my God, you've got a stellar left winger.
Do you know what? I remember when you used to do those streams in your other channel. I was always watching those FIFA.
I still need to do them back. I will bring
them back. Bring them back, bro. They were banging, man.
It's time. There's a lot going on, but yeah, I will come back.
When you used to play with Timo, I saw some of your clips. He was your best player. I'm like, dude,
he just runs past everyone.
If we got that Timo, oh my days.
Christian Lamps is just like, bloody hell, he's good on the left, isn't he? All right, nice one. Tomorrow, he's starting on the left.
And Lamps trying to explain to everyone, I played him on the left in FIFA. Like, he was damn good.
Yeah, he was damn good. He had a good start. He had a good start to his Chelsea career. You know, he played against Brighton in a front 2 with Ruben Loftus-Cheek. With Kai Havertz and Mason Mount tucked in as the 10s, and then Jorginho and Kante. It was like a 4-2-2-2. But he was playing up there with Ruben Loftus-Cheek in what appears to be a 2-striker formation under Frank. I remember the 3-3 against West Brom as well. Do you remember that? We had to come from behind there. That's where Timo Werner left wing started, and I didn't like that at all from Frank. He's not a left winger. No. He couldn't. He was never a person that needed a lot of touches. He was never a person that needed to be involved in build-up play. He's never a person that was going to dribble past players, create chances in terms of like what he was going to do against low blocks or anything like that. So I felt like that was a bit of a misjudgment. But you know, in saying that, you know, then Southampton comes along, and Lord and behold, obviously he scored against Tottenham in the Cup, but Lord and behold, Southampton comes along. That's his first goal. Well taken goal, actually, against Tottenham. The ball was kind of cut across. I remember Azpilicueta absolutely stitched up Reguilon and then pulled it back, and Timo Werner smashed it into the bottom corner. Really tidy finish. Guess who his first goal comes against, and his, 2 goals comes against?
It was that game where he lobbed it over the keeper and tapped it in with his head, didn't it?
Premier League.
Southampton.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. 2 goals. I remember the first one. He defeated a defender, and then he ran past, and then he dribbled past many, and then slotted it. And then the second one was a long ball, Jorginho maybe, I can't remember. And then he headed it in.
Goals against Southampton, then Krasnodar, Burnley, Sheffield United, Newcastle, Leeds, West Ham.
That was a good goal against Newcastle. I remember that. He went past, or was it an assist for Tammy? Remember how he went past? He just zoomed past a couple of defenders, and I think he set up Tammy. Yeah.
Sheffield United again going into the new year. Newcastle, Do you know what? Before we get to his importance in the Champions League run, and I guess his importance to Tuchel's side, because Lampard was a complete fail. Goal contributions wise, he didn't rack up too badly. I think he may have got like 20-something goal contributions in his first season, something like that. But reading out those teams, one of my biggest issues with the way this fan base cuddled and cradled Timo Werner is that for Tammy this season before, it was Tammy scores against all the shit teams. Tammy scores against all the relegation fodlers. Mason Mount, stat pads against all the relegation fodlers. But with Timo Werner, I just read out the teams there. Not a single team in the top half of the Premier League. All against relegation-stricken teams. The only goal against a decent team was Tottenham in the Cup, like I mentioned, the first one. But the revisionism that people were willing to do on the TL for a new player that had cost us that amount of money because he was new and he was shiny and he wasn't a Cobham collective like Tammy, and he actually cost money. But exactly, and this is where you have to actually look at what's going on. Yeah, he got his goal contributions high, but I remember a lot of times where Timo Werner wouldn't play that great, but he would get the goal. You know, against Newcastle on the break, he would get a goal contribution, and it wasn't because he particularly had a great game, but it was just because he kept trying, and that's what people liked about Timo Werner, is that he kept persisting, trying, and even after the first season, I wouldn't deem the first season to be a success. But I would have said, you know what? As always, second season, let's see what you can do. And then on Thomas Tuchel, obviously, you saw the importance in the Champions League final, the runs. We obviously created more chances with him. We counter-pressed better with him. You could see that Timo Werner, there was space for him in this team. If he could just sort out his shooting. You know, no one signed Timo Werner to be a dribbler. No one signed Timo Werner to be a chance creator from left wing. But you definitely signed him for his goals. But Miz, I mean, what's going on with these? What's going on after that?
Man, it was mad. Even the first season, the misses. Do you remember the miss against Leeds, right in front?
Yes. Oh God.
Oh my God. I think that's when everyone was like
2 yards out.
2 yards out. Like, that was incredible. And then there was a point where even he got so frustrated. I still remember the images where he's doing this to his shirt. Because even he couldn't understand why he was missing. And I still remember he blamed himself for Frank Lampard's sacking. He said, had I scored a few more goals, maybe the gaffer still stays around. And probably, yeah. But yeah, look, after that, what has happened? Obviously, Thomas Tuchel came in and we won Champions League. So maybe a blessing in disguise. But yeah, the fluid front three with Tuchel in that Champions League run was very, very crucial. He was very important all throughout the Champions League, even in the final. Not many people talk about this. People talk about Havertz's finish and Mason Mount's pass. But they don't talk about the run that Timo makes to drag away a couple of defenders and create that hole in between for then Havertz to slide through and Mount to put that ball in. No one talks about the importance of Timo Werner there. And this is when Mateo started creating that name, Space Creator. He's the Space Creator. And it's so true. He is the space creator. And this season, I think his best game was that Real Madrid game at the Bernabeu. He was electric that game. The way he linked up with Mason Mount, that assist for Mason Mount, then his goal, he defeated a couple of defenders. Even though the shot wasn't that great, he just trickled through. But the way he did that, I think, but there's a lot of deficiency with this guy. First touch, finishing. But I don't know, boys. I want to hear from you guys. Like, do you think if given enough love and enough affection, I think he gets enough love from the fan. But do you think Thomas Tuchel, if he really, really trusted this guy, like I'm just saying,
the modern day footballer makes me sick.
Look, I'm not advocating for him to stay, right? I'm not advocating. I think he needs to go, and for his own sake as well. For Germany in the World Cup, he probably wants to make it there. I don't know, man. Like that game against Real Madrid, it
looked like the old Timo Werner. It really did. A few of his goals against Southampton. Do you remember the dribble? I don't know if you I can't remember if you mentioned this, but the dribble where he hit the post. He took on a series of players. That looked like the old Timo Werner. My issue with him is that, like you said, technically he's he's got too many deficiencies. And Timo Werner is one of those players. He's very, very specific. He has to play against a certain type of team. Because some of his best games against Real Madrid. You know, he scored at Stamford Bridge. Great game at the Bernabeu this season. Southampton team, a team that never give you any sort of, they always come with a high defensive line or a mid defensive line. They never go over low block. They're always over expansive when they come up against these teams. Hence why they've been hit for 7s and 8s and 9s, I think even, I don't know. But yeah, he needs a certain type of team to come up against. He needs a certain type of position, a very, you know, this inverted second striker forward. Can't be on the left wing, can't be up front on his own. Has to be in this like
two striker.
Yeah, two striker. You know, for me, it's just you need too much to thrive in an environment. And then after all of that is done, and you get all of that, then we get a performance. And for me, it's too limiting. It's too restrictive for the coach. You're not tactically flexible enough. You know, we used to have forwards that could play all across the front three, or they could play both flanks. They could create, they could score, they could, you know. But he is just so limited, and that's my biggest problem with him. But yeah, I mean, Younes, he does well in the big games. I mean, what do you make of it?
You know what it is? I think with Timo, I think it's a case of he needs a certain amount of time and space to thrive. And in the Premier League, you ain't getting that. You get it against some opponents, but you won't get it week in, week out. And I feel people underestimate sometimes just how much even a millisecond means in the Premier League, because Timo Werner is someone that doesn't have the best first touch, is fast, but we're talking fast straight line speed. That's all well and good. But in terms of decision making, having to already know where you're going, making sure your touch is going to send you in a certain direction so you can win that extra second, that all counts. It all counts, and it allows you to create more opportunity for yourself. And if you don't have that, you restrict yourself. You end up making more mistakes. You end up costing yourself time, even if it's a second, but it's a second for a defender to get 2 more steps ahead to you. It's the Premier League. It's not, this is why I think against European teams, he thrives, or against the Real Madrid, he can look good. Because even if it's Real Madrid, there's a certain element of where they are happy to sometimes slow the game down. Saw it against Liverpool. They'll slow the game down, no problem. In the Premier League, in England, I don't think you get that. You'll get some teams, again, at the lower half of the table that maybe are not completely up to speed with that, and you see Timo Werner thrive in certain situations. But you're talking about the top end of the table and where it gets really quick and it gets really... You need a player that's going to be almost flawless, you know, in the basics, the one touch, the movement, to be able to make a decision, to know where you're going to go after you've made a certain pass. Like, all of that is instinct. And I feel like sometimes Timo doesn't have instinct. With the chances that he misses, that's another one. Like, you need to already have made a decision to know exactly what you're going to do, and then you need to execute it. And he doesn't execute it. And it's just, in Germany, you have the time. You have the space. In Germany, for example, your first touch isn't fantastic. It's gone maybe half a meter ahead of where you actually want it to go. You have the space to be able to run up to it and catch it and then keep the action going. In England, the amount of time, the ball's already been taken and there's an attack been launched. Like, you ain't getting that.
Yeah,
that is where it all counts. And I think people underestimate that a lot. They just think, oh, you know, he's a pro, he's at Chelsea, he'll be able to do it. No. Sometimes there are certain flaws. And I just think Timo Werner, in the whole general roundup of things, just has maybe too many flaws.
You know what, Younes? That's such a good point. That's why there's a reason why players like Suarez, Aguero, Tevez, like, so technical, so low center of gravity, they thrive in the Premier League because they're so good in tight spaces. Because you talk about that tight space, and they thrive in that situation. They can turn a player in a tight space. Pace is great, but pace in itself ain't going to cut it in the Premier League.
Unless you play for like a Leicester with Vardy and your team sit back a bit more and there's more space. We don't counter attack. The one thing I will give Timo is that I do feel like, I mean, a lot of people say if he goes to Liverpool, he does a lot better. I think Salah, Mane, Firmino, which is the traditional front three, Diaz, obviously, are, for me, more technically assured than this player, Timo Werner, as well. I think that gets missed a lot. When you watch these players, they're a lot more technically assured. One thing I will say that Timo Werner, maybe wrong timing for Chelsea as well. He comes into a Chelsea team that are very possession based. We're a bit slow. We don't really move the ball about as quickly as we would like to. We discuss it every single week about this team. They need to move the ball a bit faster. We need to hit more transitions. You know, we get the opportunity to counter after winning the ball, say in the defensive third, and we take ages. I can't remember the last time Chelsea had a counter attack. And we can't say that there's never an opportunity for transitions or counterattacks, because sometimes we are defending. Sometimes we do win the ball when the opposition are attacking, you know, and we win it in our defensive third. But we don't counter. I can't remember the last time we had a counterattack. You know, Liverpool, unlike City, they move the ball quickly. They transition like that. You know, 2 passes and you're into the final third of the other side. We just don't counterattack anymore. We don't do that anymore. And yes, it's because we've become more possessional based, and we definitely have more average possession than we used to potentially. Since Sarri, we've definitely become more possession based. Maybe Lampard, it became a little bit more erratic, and then it went back to more possession under Tuchel. But there's definitely times where there's runs that Timo's making that we're not spotting, 100%. So that I will put in his favor. But let's rank him. I'm gonna rank him for the money he's cost, for the lack of goals that he scored. I think in the Premier League, what was the statistic? He scored 10 Premier League goals in 2 seasons. Yeah. Wow. Tammy had 15 in his first year. I love that stat because it just highlights that not every time you have to go. I mean, you can. I don't even think Tammy was even perfect. I was so annoyed with Tammy so often. That just goes to show how.
Yeah, me too.
That just goes to show how annoying Timo is with goals in the Premier League, because Tammy wasn't even perfect. Funnily enough, we really don't win with these strikers. Even with Diego Costa, quickly, this guy scored 20 Premier League goals, not a single goal in Europe. This brother was allergic to Europe. I swear to God.
Diego Costa never scored in Europe.
Well, he might have scored 1 or 2, but he wasn't prolific in Europe for sure. Yeah. In his second season under Conte, we did pretty poor in Europe. He didn't really score many goals in Europe.
I don't think when Diego Costa was around, we didn't do well in Europe anyway. No, we were bombing out from either group stage or second round.
When did we?
It was after a long time under Thomas Tuchel that we ended up getting to quarterfinal stage after like many seasons.
It took from Mourinho 13-14 under Atletico to Thomas Tuchel to get to the semi-final.
Blimey, yeah, he's only scored 2 European goals at Chelsea, and that was under Mourinho. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. Fuck.
That was the 15-16 season as well. Oh my God.
Our Champions League record hasn't been great until obviously Thomas Tuchel did the madness. Like,
I'm gonna rate Timo Werner at. No, I'm not even gonna play games here. I'm gonna give him a 4. And the only reason why I'm giving him a 4 and not lower is because I really respect the mentality and the constant will to get yourself into the positions. Despite how horrendous he's actually been at times, he still constantly goes and goes. And I remember the game I went to live against Southampton where he scored, and he was missing so many chances at the home game this season. And it was becoming a joke, but he just kept going and going and going and going, and he eventually got the goal. So persistence personified, and also he's very accountable as well for as you mentioned earlier with the quote. So it's more of a personality point that he's getting to make it a 4. Yeah. What about you, Miz?
I have to agree with you as well, man. We have to be honest. He's been a flop. If I'm being, he did well for that Champions League period. He was very vital for us. But overall package, if we look at from when we bought him from till now, nothing but a flop. So 4.
Yeah, if it helps Younes, he's got loads of Champions League stats that make him look great.
The eye test, Miz. The eye test.
I'm trying to manipulate you. I don't know why, but I'm feeling carnage right now. I mean, what has he got in the Champions League? Because people, I remember his Champions League stats being up there with bald Ronaldo. I don't know what was going on there in the Champions League this season.
Don't you even?
I don't know, right? But Champions League, just for the sake of the banter, 5 games this season, 4 Champions League goals. So I remember with Miz, you spoke about Europe. Was it you spoke about Europe, right?
Yeah.
Then the season before, 4 Champions League goals, 12 appearances. So not as crazy. And obviously at Leipzig, we mentioned as well, 4 Champions League, 8 appearances. He does like the Champions
7
League.
and 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3. Oh no, then he didn't play. So yeah, not bad. But yeah, go ahead.
Listen, yeah, this is stats sometimes make you commit sins.
3 and 6 before that.
Yeah. Like getting R9 Ronaldo involved in this conversation is nuts.
That guy has a name like Luis Nazario de Lima. Come on, bro. Respect that name, bro.
Bro. Nah, I agree with you guys. He's been a flop. Nice guy. You'd have a drink with him, but flop.
Do you know what? He would be someone entertaining to hang out with.
He'd be class.
Oh,
it's like that video that he done with Amelia Mossad, you know, the chicken shop date.
Yeah.
Fantastic, because his vibe is just immense. Cool. But yeah, in terms of finishing, in terms of what we actually purchased him for, yeah, man, I'll go 4 out of 10. That's just me being a little bit nice as well. I mean, if we're being real, could even be a 3. But he's had some good moments. It's probably going to keep him at a 4. We'll just say 4 out of 10.
10 Premier League goals in 2 years is, if I keep thinking about that, I'm going to make it lower. So let's just move on. Jorginho, 51.3 million. I don't know if this is exact, but yeah, you get it, guys. He's expensive. He's 4th on this list, or 6th if you want to go work from 1 to 10, but he's 4th in our ranking upwards if we got the tower. This player is so polarizing, it's not even funny. Like, honestly, this guy causes so much controversy on the TL, especially now. Has done for years. I don't think there's ever been a time where Jorginho hasn't caused controversy. I think he knows he causes controversy as well, because he always says in his quotes, if you don't understand me, you don't understand football, etc. He's got some brilliant one-liners. And this is a player that I've always liked.
That's
I'm not going to
trigger a few people.
Yeah, this is a player that I've always liked, because despite the fact that he was, again, we speak about couples, right, in football: Mason Mount, Lampard, Jorginho, Kovacic, Reece James, Chilwell, McTominay, Fred. Jorginho Sarri was the biggest partnership, and it was so damning for Jorginho, because Sarri obviously left on a weird note. He won something, but most of the fan base, especially match going, didn't like him. But at the same time, Jorginho stayed, and people thought he would follow his father, so to speak. But he actually ended up staying and achieving a lot, and was in the Ballon d'Or ranking last year. Very highs and very lows. I'm not gonna go only with the good moments. There's been some times he's been absolutely stripped in broad daylight. Sheffield United away against Lampard. For Lampard, that is definitely a game where I remember him getting absolutely stripped against Chris Wilder's 3 at the back formation with the overlapping centre backs. But yeah, let's start from the beginning. Sarri season, new football, boring for a lot of Chelsea fans, they would say. For me personally, different. I enjoyed something new. I enjoyed us dominating games, us trying to actually take teams on. It came with a few spankings against Man City and Bournemouth. I remember those blockbuster 4-0, 6-0 defeats.
I was there for that.
Yeah. At times it was a little bit choreographed, I guess they would say, a little bit predictable in the way we play, because everything was like a chain of events, as we said. But I think, considering Jorginho was booed in his first season off the pitch, I think he did come out the other end of it. And I think because of our style of play, was Sarri ball was all Jorginho. Jorginho was the messenger on the pitch. He was the teacher. So everything Sarri ball stood for, Jorginho stood for, and he was the one that was orchestrating everything. So if you didn't like Sarri ball, you didn't like Jorginho. I think that was just the simple consensus. But Miz, how do you look at that beginning for him?
Tough beginning, man. The one big couple of moments that I remember very, very distinctly is obviously his mum's video moving into the mega store, and that was so beautiful, man. That was like the one thing we can definitely say about Jorginho. There's been a lot of, like, when Jorginho makes mistakes, they're big mistakes. Like, they end up being goals. They end up being absolutely horrendous. But there's been some big moments as well that just come into my mind. Do you guys remember the headband? When he hurt himself and
he turned into prime flipping Perlo.
He was unbelievable with that headband. Once that happened, do you guys remember the lift your chin
Yes,
moment.
that one.
That was big. And the other one that I really remember very, very distinctly is Champions League, how he broke down in tears and he was just like it kind of felt like he felt vindicated that you all went against me. And now, with the team, I myself as well, we won the Champions League together. And he was a key cog along with Kante in that midfield. So, look, this is my evaluation of Jorginho, right? You put Jorginho in a team full of technical players surrounding him, you're not going to get the ball. You will not see the ball. He's so good in one-touch passing, manipulating, keeping the tempo moving. The opposition will literally not see the ball. One of the biggest examples was this season. I remember FA Cup semi-final against Crystal Palace. Patrick Vieira post-match actually said, in the second half, Jorginho saw too much of the ball. And all the control that was there in the first half for Crystal Palace just disintegrated. And that's what Jorginho can do. But you need to surround him with players that are absolutely in tune with what needs to happen. As soon as they're not in tune, he looks like the worst player in that entire team because
there's almost no point of him being there at that point. Yeah,
exactly. Because the rest of the team members are not doing what needs to happen. And Jorginho sticks out like a massive rock that just looks so out of position because he's the one who's getting overlapped. He's the one who's getting spun around. He's the one, who's can't even seem to catch up with the referee. Referee's running quicker than you. If you guys remember that video, where the referee was running quicker than you.
Yeah.
Look, very hard to evaluate what I want to say. Obviously, very important for us to change the way of football that we played under Sarri, but then he looked so out of proportion against Frank Lampard, for Frank Lampard. And then with Thomas Tuchel, he started to look all right again. But even this season, was he always looking all right under Thomas Tuchel? I don't know. So I'll get straight into the rating for you, Matisse, man. I'd probably say a 6 out of 10. I'd give him.
Okay.
Better than average. But he's had some shockers as well. So yeah,
he's had some shockers. His highs are so high and his lows are quite low. Like when he makes a mistake, it's like when a goalkeeper makes a mistake because he's so involved in the build-up play that when he makes an error, it's usually catastrophic for our team. It's like a turnover, and he's obviously the last line of defense in midfield. So then it just straight away the back line are under pressure. We've seen some loose touches. Man United, Sancho, I think it was.
Arsenal last season.
Arsenal. We've seen some masterclasses against even Liverpool in the cup final. I thought it was incredible. He comes on off the bench, against Leicester, against Arsenal, and turns the game around, and we get more possession and we get more control. Sometimes when he's not in the team, I'm going to rank him slightly higher, and I'm going to give my reason before I put it over to Younes. I think for him, Chelsea fans are used to a DM of a certain profile. Mikel, Matic, even, way back Makelele, but more Mikel, Matic, especially for this younger crowd. And he doesn't fit that as well. So he has been a complete anomaly, or no, he's been a complete, entirely different type of player that Chelsea have ever been used to. And also English football's ever been used to. He's a very European style DM. He's a very continental style, a very like Spanish or Italian, he's not made for English football in terms of our perception of English football, or a lot of fans' perception of English football, the media's perception of football as well in this country. He's not made for that. I do wonder if Jorginho would have been looked at differently if he'd gone to a Manchester City. Not saying that every single player Man City get linked with is obviously a great player. I do think sometimes Pep is lying.
I think Man City wanted him, right?
They did.
We took him from them.
We took him at the last minute. But of course, they've been linked with other players like Harry Maguire. But I don't feel like that was always entirely concrete links. I think sometimes they just
they were linked with Harry Maguire.
They were linked with Maguire and Fred and Alexis Sanchez, and they all went to Man United.
Was it you that said sometimes they link themselves just to lure Man United?
I think they do. And it's worked. It's worked like 3 or 4 times. So. But this was actually a real link, and they almost did get the job done on this one. And he is a Pep type of player, I think, as well, because Pep and Sarri, they do have similarities in their play. I think he's also been hit with the fact finally that we have never had really competition. I'm trying to think in Sarri's season, who was our second choice DM last, Frank, Tuchel, who's been the second choice DM all this time for him to compete with and not be such a focal point?
There hasn't been one.
There hasn't been one. Kante under Frank at the end started to play as a lone DM and it didn't go well. Yeah. Billy Gilmore, I think, later on came on and tried to challenge, but then Billy Gilmore had a couple of shocking performances. I think there was a Leicester one where he looked out of sorts.
Yeah. Since 18-19, where Chelsea bought Jorginho and Kova, and obviously Matic went, Bakayoko flopped. They never really looked at that midfield again since then. So I do think he's at times his mistakes have come out of tiredness and being overplayed. Yeah. I'm going to give him I like the player a lot, so maybe I'm going to be biased, which is fair enough. I'm a fan. I'm going to give him... this is tough, man. Younes, do you have a rating already for this guy?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you go.
I agree with Miz. I'm going to go 6 out of 10 as well. I think he's not a bad player. He's a good player, but he's a profile. And if we're being honest, I don't think that profile, except for under Sarri, because you could understand exactly what Sarri was trying to do, and Sarri needed Jorginho. Since that point, good player for what he offers in his profile, but I think it's a mismatch. I don't think his profile is what Chelsea need. I think his profile would have fit at Man City. Hell yeah. Or Chelsea could have needed a Jorginho if everyone around him in that midfield was class consistently. A KDB, for example, next to Jorginho, it's raps. It's actually because City are going to constantly dominate every single game. Jorginho has entire amounts of protection with the midfield in front of him, is able to link up with midfielders that are actually dynamic and quick and lethal. And it almost makes him look even better. And he's able to replicate exactly what's done to him, but the other way around, to them. With the amount of time he gets on the ball, what he can do with the ball, I can understand completely why Pep wanted him and why Man City wanted him. We got him because Sarri was there. Simple. Sarri was the pull for Jorginho because they worked together at Napoli and they were fantastic together. But with Chelsea and the way that we play, and since then we've had 2 other flipping managers. Man City haven't changed a flipping guy. So I look at that and I think, you know what? Maybe the profile was just a mismatch because he's a top player, but in a certain role. And I don't think hence now we want a DM. That tells you everything about how Chelsea play. We need a DM. Jorginho's not the answer. This is where we are now after actually seeing what Jorginho can do. I just think it's Chelsea need a proper defensive midfielder. But what he can do, I agree. Very high highs, very low lows. For that reason, I'll keep him at a 6 out of 10.
The one thing I'll add just before Matisse goes, so many players. I remember, I think Matisse had Pat Nevin in his channel not that long ago. Pat Nevin said one thing, that in training, when you see someone like Jorginho, so much time and effort, the way he goes around doing his stuff, passing and the vision, knowing where the ball needs to go. And heaps of players. I remember Madison from Leicester, he was asked, who's one of your top sort of midfielders that you've come across in the Premier League? And his first answer was Jorginho. He goes, the stuff that he does with the ball is just incredible. Receiving the ball first up, from build up, what he does. Even Mason Mount, people pitch Mason and Jorginho in 2 separate sort of opposites in terms of fan base. Mason Mount has said it so many times as well. Jorginho is class, man, absolute class. So I think people disrespect him a bit too much.
I'm going to give him a 7. I think for me, what he was bought in for, and then what he ends up doing is ridiculous in my opinion, because he was bought in to be Sarri ball and Sarri ball only. Like you said, he was only bought in to be with Sarri. He wasn't bought in for any other purpose whatsoever. If Sarri doesn't come in, this player doesn't come anywhere near Chelsea, because we simply don't look for a player like this. But the fact that he goes on to become vice captain, He goes on to play in multiple different formations and systems under multiple different managers with different philosophies and ideologies. He goes on to be in a Ballon d'Or list and has always led us very well in tackles and interceptions and does manage his close quarters quite well. I just think when there's large spaces and really under Lampard is his worst time. But I think the reason why I'm not bypassing that, but I think Lampard defensively was a very inexperienced, naive coach. And I think he left a very open game for a lot of players to get exposed. And it's no coincidence that a lot of our defenders were quite shit under Lampard. It can't be a coincidence that a lot of our defenders were quite poor. We conceded a lot of open play goals. And then when you look at Sarri's season, open play goals, we didn't concede anywhere near as many. We were much more defensively, in check. We were a lot more of a unit. And then Tuchel defensively, again, much more of a unit. I think those two managers, either side of Lampard, set themselves up correctly for what this team needed to be set up for. Lampard kind of reminds me of the VS Boas, who had good intentions. He wanted to maybe get out of a lot of the players that are potentially heading out right now, but he did it like that. And it just like blew up in his face, kind of, where he needed to be a bit more methodical with it.
Which is ironic because he was one of the players that done that to AVB.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to give him a 7. I think he's done leaps and bounds for the way we play in terms of possession. I do think sometimes he could definitely move the ball a bit quicker. And that is the negative side of the way we are in terms of maybe we're a bit too pedantic and passive and we don't get the ball forward to those forwards quickly enough. But I do think overall, I'm going to give him a 7. Let's move on to Fernando Torres, the next one. 52.65. Everybody here is basically 50 mil, but they're just playing with the numbers on this particular graphic that we're
50 looking back then was a lot
of money.
It was huge, yeah.
That's probably 70 now.
More.
I'd even go more. I'd go 80. Yeah. This player, I was so excited about. This was, and I say this categorically, when he was at Liverpool, he was probably one of my favorite strikers on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I loved Fernando Torres.
He destroyed us at one time.
I hate Liverpool, but I loved Fernando Torres at Liverpool. He used to
Gerrard and Torres.
God, he used to always score against us. He used to always score against us. He used to always score some really great goals. I remember the goal against Blackburn, the volley. I remember the long shot against Middlesbrough. All of these Liverpool moments. And then when he comes to Chelsea, and Liverpool fans, this is a sign because Liverpool fans were all right with this sale as well. He had an injury
in January.
Yeah.
How do you let go of Torres in Jan? We didn't pick that up.
Yeah.
And they replaced him with Suarez, funnily enough. And Andy Carroll, but yeah, Suarez is the real one. This guy just goes to kaput, and he doesn't score his first goal for Chelsea for ages. I remember waiting months.
Years.
Yeah.
Remember that goal? It was against West Ham. The ball got stuck in the rain. Do you remember the ball got stuck in the rain?
He had to do the turn.
And it looked like he was gonna mess it up, or the weather was gonna mess it up for him. And I was like, oh my God. The ball is stuck in the wet, and this guy is he's never gonna score. And then the ball stops, and he manages to get it all figured out. He twists, he turns, and he puts it in the bottom corner. And the relief inside Stamford Bridge, I don't think I've felt relief like that in that ground.
Yeah,
like that before. Like that was like because we all thought he just needs to get his first, and then he'll do it. I think we made a little mistake, or Carlo Ancelotti, I think he was manager at the time when he was brought in. Correct me if I'm wrong. We signed him when we had Drogba, and we started him ahead of Drogba. It was
Carlo Ancelotti,
yeah, and we started him ahead of Drogba, because he signed in his second season, isn't it? When Carlo finished second, he started ahead of Drogba in his first game at home to Liverpool. That was our biggest mistake because. Not only should he never have started against Liverpool on his first game where Liverpool players are going to kick the shit out of him, which is what they did. Jamie Carragher, all these guys, just threw him straight into the deep end because he was the big money signing. If we maybe just looked after him a little more, maybe it would have started a bit differently. But this guy, I mean, actually, no, I'll go to Younes first because Younes off air was talking about he scored that goal against Barcelona.
He likes him.
and he won the corner. So he
He
scored the
thinks
goal
it's a
against
hit.
Barcelona.
He thinks it's a hit.
So he scored. So I'm gonna let Younes rank him first, right? And give his explanation. He scores the goal. He scores the goal against Barcelona, and he gets the corner against Munich. Take it away.
You see that fee on the screen that's about to pop up again? Yeah, Fernando Torres, 52.65 million. That's now zero. Basically came for free because 50 million pound was repaid. If you remember, Barcelona. Listen, that goal, that guy. There we are. That is exactly. He repaid it. That goal against Barcelona was without a doubt the second. Well, I mean, prior to us winning the Champions League again in 2021. Before that, the second happiest moment as a Chelsea fan ever was that goal against Barcelona.
Iconic moment, bro. Iconic moment.
I could not believe, like, I can replay it in my head constantly. I know exactly detail for detail. It was incredible. So I got to thank him for that because I didn't expect him to be the guy at the new camp to run around Valdez like that and slot it in. And he did. And I know people will say we were already through at that point with the away goal with Ramirez. But when you're playing Barcelona at the new camp with 10 men, anything can happen in a split second. That killed it off. That was it. He scored that. It was done. We're in the final. So for that, he's forgiven for everything. Very frustrating.
Yeah,
but
extremely.
Forgiven.
His European record is good. Again, similar to Timo Werner, another striker that, well, Torres had a lot more technique than Werner, but I think Torres became he became a kick and run merchant. I'm not going to lie. He became a kick and run merchant. Like, when he had no confidence, Torres, all he did was kick it past the defender and run. I remember so many times where Torres would pick up the ball, kick it past the defender, and then he would wrestle to get round him, and then he wouldn't quite make it, and then we would be dispossessed. And that's all he did for a long period of time. His Premier League record was absolutely atrocious. Atrocious.
It was. One
horrendous.
thing we have to bear in mind as well is I know what Liverpool done, right? But he came to Chelsea broken, and no one picked up on it. Like his knee was gone. And I don't know if Liverpool really disguised it well. It came out long after that. At Liverpool, he was playing.
Nah, this was a Roman thing, boys. This was a Roman thing. Roman wanted him.
Oh, Roman wanted him, so that's
Roman
why he flopped. Shevchenko, yeah.
Roman wanted him.
When Torres came in, we only found out long after that at the time when he'd come in. Just prior to that, for Liverpool, he was playing on injection. He was playing on painkillers and all sorts.
He was already on a decline for Liverpool.
Now you know why they were happy to let him go for that much money in January. Torres, Liverpool, their best striker. Like,
criminal.
Didn't make any sense. But yeah, when you bear that in mind, that's why I can't blame him 100% because of it. If he's destroyed, he's destroyed. But he gave us that goal, so I'm happy.
Were you ranking him at?
He's given 10 out of 10 for this one.
Oh, sorry. Oh, shit. He's being serious. He's giving him a 10. Oh, my goodness.
No. If we're being real, overall, he was a flop. Yeah, he was a flop. Let's be honest.
Chelsea fans don't like to hear that, but
without the goal of Barca, easily a 3 out of 10. Easily.
Even 3 is generous.
Even 3 is being generous.
Flop.
He was terrible.
I will say that he had a great run in Europa League when we won it under Rafa.
Yeah.
In that 2013 season after the Club World Cup exit to Corinthians, the gold kit, he had a great Europa League run there. He scored against not Benfica in the final, but I think he scored in the semi-final to put us into the final. So he had a very good Europa League run. So he's done very well in Europe, I guess you could say. But in the Premier League, he was horrendous. I'm gonna rank him at. Chelsea fans hate it with Torres because they got so much love for the Champions League moment. But then
it's exactly that.
But then when we come to analyze Kai Havertz later on,
it counts.
You gotta hold the same energy.
You gotta hold the energy. Exactly. You gotta hold the energy. If you're gonna say that, you can't base somebody's ranking off of moments. You have to base it on the whole time. You
know what's mad about that Barca goal? It's because it was Barca.
Yes.
At the Nou Camp. There's a whole story behind it.
Yeah.
And no, the thing is that if this was Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, it wouldn't hit the same. Like, we wanted revenge. We wanted it so bad. And there was a whole backstory to it. And then Torres is the guy to seal the deal for that whole revenge story. That's what makes it extra special. So that's why.
I I gave Timo Werner a 4. In comparison to Torres, what does it look like?
Well, what do you think, Matisse? I'll make my rating. I'm gonna have to give him a 3. 3 out of 10 for me. I remember when we got Torres, I seriously thought we were going to win the World Cup. I was like, Torres is winning the World Cup. Like, we're going to win it all.
We're going to win the Euros.
We win Euros, Copa America, we win the lot. We get everything.
Ryder Cup, Grand National.
Ryder Cup. And then, just like you guys, I was like, okay, just a goal this match. It's all going to kick in. All right, this match didn't happen. Next match, 1 goal. I know it's coming. Once he gets his first goal, it's going to happen. Second, third, fourth. And it just never happened. It never happened. And it also annoyed me. He was, do you remember? I think he was changing his, changing his hairstyle every day. He had the long hair to start off with. Then he had the short hair. Then he went blonde once. I was like, stop it. Like, I've had enough. I've had enough of your shenanigans. As I was saying off air, the one miss that still sticks out for me is when he rounded off Van der Sar and he opened goal. Absolutely.
He scored that game, didn't he?
No,
it was De Gea in goal, wasn't it?
De Gea. Was it De Gea in goal or was it Van der Sar?
A young De Gea, yeah.
I thought it was Van der Sar.
Are you sure? I think it was De Gea.
Bro, that was a long time ago.
Pretty sure.
How old is De Gea?
De Gea was there like 19 years old.
He is ancient.
He signed at Man United very young. He was like 19 years old when he signed.
Oh. Yeah. Wow.
The comments will let us know anyway.
Yeah, the comments were. I thought it was Van der Sar that he rounded. Anyway, yeah, for me, 3 out of 10, man. 3 out of 10. He's the great Barcelona moment, fantastic, but overall,
he ended up.
I think.
Go on.
I just gonna say I'll give him a 3 out of 10, but it's almost like, you know, when a student has like can go fast track, or he knows like the teachers, you know, whatever, or is able to get like a little backhand or under the table sort of, that. So you know, he shouldn't be getting an A.
Yeah.
But the teacher's just like, screw it, I'm gonna give you an A. Yeah, slip me 100 quid and I'll give you an A. That's basically what's happened. So
he got a lot of assists.
3 out of 10, but 10 out of 10 because of the Barca goal.
He got a lot. He got a lot of assists for us. He got 35 assists compared to 20 assists at Liverpool, but 45 goals and 81 goals for Liverpool. So in 142 games, he got 81 goals at Liverpool. So that's more than a goal.
Do you know what? Twitter wasn't so big back then, and you know, if we had Twitter and you know that particular account, Football London LDN, he would have always reminded us of Torres' assists.
Yeah.
And then I maybe would have given a higher rating.
Yeah, but in 30
Torres would have got destroyed on Twitter back then. Oh my god!
In 30 more games for Chelsea, he got 45 goals compared to the 81. And obviously, goal is the currency for strikers. Way more assists though, 35 to 20 assists. I'll give him like a 3.5. I mean, some people will rank him higher than Timo Werner. He could rank them similar. I don't know. Timo Werner's been awful in the league. Timo Werner's been awful in the league. I don't know if I want to rank him below Timo Werner. I think they've both been. I'm gonna give him a 4. I'm gonna rank him the same as Timo Werner.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe I'm being too nice.
Gone to a 4 now.
I'm gonna
3 to 3.5 to 4.
Because I gave Timo Werner a 4, and I can't give Torres less than Werner. They cost similar, and I think they have similar-ish kind of like
output.
I'm gonna give him that.
What happened to the eye test, Matisse? What happened to the eye test?
Oh, the eye test. They both failed the eye test at our clubs. That's why they're both getting 4s. They both failed the eye test massively. They were both kick and run merchants at Chelsea, and yeah, it was dreadful. So let's move on to the next player.
I'll be back in a sec, boys. Hold on.
All good. This one, Younes, is currently still
I'm trying to
playing.
remember which player is this. Oh! I know what player.
Captain America, Christian Pulisic, the LeBron James of soccer himself. He had a lovely touch for the US a couple of days ago, or maybe it was yesterday. I can't remember. Depends on the time difference, I guess. But lovely touch against Morocco. Brought the ball out of the heavens, laid it off for his teammate, showed a glimpse of quality there. as he has done at times. He's always shown glimpses of quality, but this player is so frustrating, bro, because the only thing is with him that softens the blow is that he's still young. Every single, outside of Chilwell, every other player we've gone with has been pretty experienced. You know, Kova, probably joined, 25 years old, Timo Werner, 25, Jorginho, older, Torres, older. So Pulisic's obviously a lot younger. Talk to me about this player. How do you feel about him now? And how did you feel about him when he first joined? Because there were like Hazard comparisons, and he should never have ever been compared to Hazard. And I'm glad that stopped. Because not only did he not do at Dortmund what Hazard did at Lille, very important to note, he didn't do at Dortmund what Hazard did at Lille. What Hazard did at Lille was ridiculous, you know. Not saying Pulisic wasn't good at Dortmund. He was very good, but he wasn't Hazard at Dortmund. But he's also not like Hazard in terms of player. And I think people are starting to realize that in terms of profile, he's not like Hazard. The only thing you could say is that and I wouldn't even say his dribbling is like what it was initially at Chelsea, but his dribbling was really, really good. That's probably the only thing people could maybe make as a similarity, but that's about it. Yeah. What would you say with this guy?
I'm talking about things that we shouldn't have done. There's a lot of things we shouldn't have done when you think about it. Bloody hell. With Pulisic, and shout out Men Knows Football, we have to be careful what we say here. If not, the Pulipuff gang are going to be coming out.
Pulipuff. Where did you go from Sugar Puffs to Pulipuff? Oh my days, you guys are jokers.
Ask Goonie.
Goonie right now doesn't like a single Chelsea attacker. He wants them all sold. It's so funny. It's brilliant. It's not going to happen, but it's quality.
Pulisic, I mean, yeah, you know what? It's good that he's actually still young. But yeah, considering the expectation that everyone had to what he's actually delivered with, it's just not hit. Multiple reasons. The main reason, obviously, being his injury record, and that's just been the one sticking point. Is he's always just been injured, you know, and for the times where he's not been injured, he's just not been as consistent as you'd want. He's not been as lethal, as potent as you'd expect. And it's just Pulisic is frustration in a nutshell. That is it. He's had some good moments, some really good moments, but when you look at the comparisons of Eden Hazard, I completely agree. You know, it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. Although I understand the context, because Hazard had just left. We needed the replacement. Pulisic came in. Oh, he's gonna fit in Hazard's shoes, and that's just not the case. Now, obviously, everyone's able to understand why. But Pulisic's one that overall, he's not been a success. He's just not. And for that much money, for 57.5 million, it's just not been a success. Can he be a success? Some would say hell yes, and some would say hell no. Some would say he might not get injured again. Some would say he's going to get injured at some point. Yeah, there's so many question marks. Pulisic's one big, massive question mark. You just don't know what's going to happen. And it's quite risky when you have that, because can you really cling on to that? Or do you actually go for someone that you know is going to be giving you more? It's tough. And the one other point is obviously that he's still young. There isn't a case of you can just write him off. You can't write him off. He might, if he were to leave, he might actually go somewhere and just explode. He could, but he might not. You don't know, because he's 23. It's such a frustrating, weird player. And for that much money, I don't know where to stand with him. I'm literally, when I look at Pulisic, I feel like I'm on a fence. And it's funny because I know you guys probably get it too. I get told that I hate Pulisic, and I get told that I love Pulisic. I'm like, guys, pick one. I can't do both.
Depends where I am. Toby thinks I'm absolutely infatuated with him and I overrate him. Some Chelsea fans think I underrate him and don't like him. Yeah. Whereas really what it is that I'm in the middle. I think he's got potential. I've always thought he's got potential. I think there's always glimpses of quality every now and then, but it's inconsistent.
Yeah.
And I feel like his injuries definitely... I mean, listen, he's missed 44 games, I think I added up, missed through injury.
This season, didn't he miss at a point over 100 days?
Yeah. So he's missed... I think he missed more games or more days. I think he was what was it? Was he out injured more days or missed more games than Hazard did for his whole Chelsea career? I think there was a statistic last season that I found. But yeah, he's missed 44 games in 3 years. So he's missed quite a lot of games. That's a whole season. So we basically had Pulisic for 2 seasons out of the 3, which is not great. Yeah. And that just goes to back up your injury, point that you made. I think he's a player that there's so many things where you think it's just so difficult to analyze, because he's a player that he doesn't always lift his head up, from the floor. He's dribbling, but then sometimes he does show awareness, and he does create quite a lot of chances, which is what he did in both the cup finals against Liverpool. Sometimes he scores goals against Palace, and they're fantastic near post left footers that are beautiful when he goes on that run, the lockdown, playoff Pulisic form. But then sometimes his finishing is absolutely horrendous, and he misses massive opportunities. Sometimes his dribbling is out of this world, like against Porto in the Champions League. He was one of the most fouled players ever in the Champions League. I think he got a statistic for that away from home. But then sometimes his dribbling isn't there. Passing wise, again, can be quite limited. He's not one to switch to play. I think Hudson-Odoi maybe has more variety in his passing in terms of switching to play and crossing, things like that. Then Pulisic is a better shooter. It's just, when it comes to Pulisic, he's just such a difficult player to analyze, and it shows in the statistics when you look this season as well. When you look at his statistics, his underlying numbers as well, just like progressive passes, passes attempted, all these things. It's just all over the shop. Dribbles completed. It's just, he's a tough player to analyze, Miz, man. He's tough, but yeah.
Look, you guys have covered a lot. Obviously, injury. It seems like you've covered that. 2 things I'll just say about Christian Pulisic. One is what Thomas Tuchel said in a recent post-match press conference, where he missed that goal against, right at the end. Who did he miss that against? Was it Leicester?
Oh, Leicester at home, was it?
Yeah. And it was quite telling what Thomas Tuchel said post-match. And I think this is how I see the perfect evaluation. He said, good talent, this, that, and the other. Biggest factor with Christian Pulisic? Focus. He's not, the focus lets him down. Like, he gets into great scoring positions. He gets into good, he's got good, movement as well. But it seems like goals that needs to be goal, especially that Leicester one, and then obviously we had Liverpool recently as well. You can't miss. How you missing? And Thomas Tuchel is spot on. It's focus. You need to wake up. Look, I always try and bring it to reality, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Like, I'm sure Younes and Matisse, you guys have different perception. Like, I wake up every morning, and I'm focused about what I want from life. Like, what are my goals? What I need to do from work, personally, and whatnot. And I go for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm hungry. I've got an aim. You look at some of the greatest superstars in sports, let alone football, like any different sports. They all have a same sort of mantra, like, which is they wake up, they know exactly, and they're hungry. There's a reason why Mo Salah becomes a Mo Salah. There's a reason why Cristiano Ronaldo becomes Cristiano Ronaldo. There's a reason why Lionel Messi becomes, Messi. It's because these brothers, all they can ever think about is when they wake up, I am going to eat up the world. The thing I have about Christian Pulisic, I think he wants to eat up the world, but he doesn't put the application behind it. You need to apply. You got to live your life like that. You got to think like that. You got to be so hungry and ruthless. And this is what Thomas Tuchel said. The focus is not always there. How are you missing those chances against Leicester? Your head is somewhere else. That's why. Your head is somewhere else. So that's one thing. The second thing I'm going to say is, which really has annoyed me, and you guys have touched on it a little bit, is his fan base, man. Like, I think this whole culture. Do you know what? Do you know I'm going to stop you.
I think in terms of rating him, I don't want to bring in fan bases, because if we did that for Jorginho as well, it would be peak. It would be peak.
But I'm more sort of talking about my frustration towards the player. The rating will obviously leave away, but I feel like, and once again, I'll apologize from the get-go, but I feel it's that American fan base that started this whole, liking a player ahead of the team. This whole situation of, I like Christian Pulisic, or I like this, I like that. I feel like this whole flavor stuff. I don't know about you guys. I never, growing up, when I was watching, like, I had my favorites, but I never.
That's not surprising to me, because a lot of them will support Chelsea. Well, not even a lot of them, but some of them will support Chelsea because of Pulisic. They would have seen Pulisic on TV over there. They would have seen the way that he's the main man. He's the star boy. If you look at, I actually have started to blame the fans less so and more the coverage. I think media coverage on Pulisic in America is ridiculous. Like, I've seen it, and it's so mad. Like, they put him up there with the gods. They think he's God on steroids. They think he can't do any wrong. They think he's consistent. They think he's incredible. That is basically how he's covered in America. So I think it's a lot of media manipulation. And yeah, but then at the same time, I do also see their side of things, where they will feel like maybe he's harshly treated in comparison to other more homegrown talents who also sometimes can be inconsistent with their performance, but they get that love and they get that. I'll make a point on this, is that I remember when so he copped a lot of crap on Instagram, right? Christian Pulisic. This is why I don't want to bring in too many fan bases in, but he copped a lot of crap on Instagram. I remember he changed the app, some of the photos were deleted, all this kind of stuff. And the reason why a lot of them photos were deleted was because he was getting a lot of abuse, a lot of crappy comments, crappy DMs. So he deleted not only some of the Chelsea posts, but he deleted the Puma promotion post and whatever. And the lack of coverage that he got for the abuse he was taking in the Chelsea realm,
that's true.
In comparison to the defense. The big defensive wall that would be up for Reece James, for Mason Mount, for Callum. I saw that in real time. I saw it on socials. I saw it on socials with social media influencers. I saw it. I saw it even on YouTube.
There's always videos out for Reece James and Callum, but there's no videos for Christian Pulisic.
It didn't get no coverage, really. It didn't. No one really made their statement on the crap that Pulisic was getting online. And I think we have to remember, he's 23, and this is why I brought up age in my earlier part, is that I always say that young players, they need time to develop. Now, obviously, it depends on the player. I think a 23-year-old Pulisic is not the same as a 22-year-old Trev. 22-year-old Trevor Chalobah is in his first season at the top flight, or second season in the top 5 league, but first season in the Premier League. Christian Pulisic's been playing in the top level from age 18 or age 17 at Dortmund. But youth, in terms of development, you can definitely have your question marks as to maybe why he's not better or more consistent or whatever. But in terms of age, one thing that cannot be changed is maturity, or just becoming a man. He's still young. He's still not a kid, but he's still a young adult. And I think he still deserves to be treated as such in some regard. And people say 23 is old. I'm 25, and I know 23 ain't old. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think with him, there's a lot of pressure on his back for his country, and there's a lot of pressure at Chelsea as well at a very young age. And there's not many players that I can think of at Chelsea that have coped with that pressure at that age and delivered the goods. When I look at some of our best players, they usually got better as they got older. Even Frank Lampard at 23, if you look at his statistics and his numbers, it's not great. I didn't get to watch him consistently all the time because I was very young. But, even, maybe Hazard at 21, who really else burst onto the scene at a young age and did great things? Even Mason Mount, this is the first season where I'm disagreeing with Player of the Year. I don't think Mason Mount was the Player of the Year for me this year at all. I think, the statistics are up, but then the eye test, as Younes says, he hasn't been doing the business at that level for me as he did last year. So
Mason kind of got it at like in default, I suppose. Like
it was default.
It was by default. Like there was no one really a standout. So
I think personally, Silva or Rudiger should have got it ahead of him, to be honest, in my opinion. But back onto Pulisic, I think for me, this player, he's frustrating for sure. He's inconsistent for sure. He's not God for sure.
He's not.
Should he? Really, in my opinion, I think I would prefer that he. If it was me as a preference, he's obviously a player that I would still have one more year left to see what he brings. next year. But that's because I'm also not selling every attacker. Realistically, I've already said that Werner and Lukaku would be the attackers I get rid of. I think Pulisic at least is a technical player, and that's what I want in that forward line, although he misses some things. I wouldn't have him as a starter, though. I would definitely bring in a starter ahead of him so I know what I'm getting from left wing. I wouldn't rely upon him. I'm gonna give him a rating, and I'm gonna give him a rating of 5. I think I'm just gonna just give him straight down the middle, just straight 5. I wouldn't say, I don't want to call him a complete flop, because I still believe that there's something there, and he has shown in the minutes given, because like I said, he's missed a whole season. So when you take a whole season off of his Chelsea career and you condense and you know, really bring those numbers in and drag them in per 90, it's not too bad. It's not horrendous. You know, it's not catastrophic, but it needs to be better, as it does with every attacker. I'm just going to give him an average score as a 5. I see something there. He's done it in some big games, but just need more, way more. What would you give it, Miz?
Yeah, I was thinking 5 as well before you even answered. Not a complete flop, definitely not a hit. So
no, yeah,
5.
What about you, Younes?
Yeah, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe like that. That's basically Pulisic in a nutshell. I'll go 5 out of 10 as well. It's so difficult to analyze, and so that's the word. He's so uncertain. You just don't know. It can go either way. So I'll split it down the mid, and I'll go 5 out of 10 as well.
Let's move on to our next player. Oh yes! Oh yes!
Who Arsenal might be getting for 25 million? Just saying.
Listen, if he goes to Arsenal, I
hope it happens.
I'm going to be so happy, because, like,
me too.
I'm going to be happy with that. I'll be fine with that one. That's not going to scare anybody, in my opinion. It's not going to scare me anymore. That's not the process. That's going to kill Lee Gunner. I'll tell you that. That will send him overboard.
We're about to fly to Spain and see if he's all right.
Alvaro Morata. Now, can I first of all say, when we first signed him, wasn't excited. I usually get excited for big signings all the time. Even if I didn't particularly want them, like, you'll know I wanted Sancho over Ziyech. When Ziyech comes, put it down, batten down the hatches, fresh start, let's see what you can do. But this one, for all this money, I look back on it and I thought, why? You know,
we wanted Lukaku, innit?
We wanted Lukaku. Yeah.
Look how all that's turned out. I mean, we've got both in the end. This football club.
Fucking club, man. I swear to God. This club will kill me, man.
Oh my God.
We ended up getting both of them, and they've both been massive L's so far.
Morata was an L.
Bro, this guy, what did he do at Real Madrid? He was a bench player, right? So there, he didn't justify it there. Juventus, he's all right. He wasn't exactly.
Wasn't the greatest.
Yeah. Wasn't exactly Immobile.
People call him. He's the perfect money laundering mechanism.
Yes,
and I believe it. He is the ultimate money laundering machine.
Him and Chipomote.
Chipomote. If you want to turn your black money into white, Alvaro Morata, where do you need to be transferred? We need to offload some money.
Yeah.
So
he started great though. Got loads of goals in his first, like, I don't know.
Azpilicueta and Morata.
Yes, 10 games.
And Morata.
Great headers, crosses from Azpilicueta, but listen, there's no shying away from the fact that, and I'm going to do this one quickly because I don't want to. I've got nothing good to say. Nothing, absolutely nothing good to say. There's not a single moment that I could say it was a great moment. Like, you know how we've done that for each player. We can't do that. I can't.
There's no great moments. Yeah.
There's no great moments. All I can say about this player is he did cop a lot of abuse. But when I go back, and everybody handles it differently, right? But I look back on Jorginho, and I look back on, you know, players like that who have had a lot of crap as well. And I don't know, you know, the severity of Morata's crap was definitely mad. Like, he got some serious shit that I don't think Jorginho really copped that level. But sometimes, I mean, he really just, he said, fuck it, really. Let's just keep it a buck. He just said, screw it. Like, on the pitch, he just didn't care anymore. You know, sometimes he would score a goal in a cup game. You wouldn't even celebrate.
No celebration.
What? Nottingham Forest, remember?
Yeah. I feel like he copped a lot of shit, and that definitely affected him, and he couldn't deal with it. He definitely didn't help himself though. Like he really, you know, he dropped in form. The fan base dropped in enthusiasm, and he said, "I'm going to go lower as well," and everybody just kept going down and got
complete opposite to Timo Werner, where same situation, but Timo always kept on going and going.
Yeah.
Whereas Morata just sulking and sulking and sulking, and
I think he
didn't help himself.
I don't think as a player, he just died.
And there's still look, every fan base, the match goers tend to be, you know, your top blues, your top reds, you know, your Yerdas, right? They reward and cheer for players that care and show desire and passion. It's just how it goes. And you would too if you go to more games. You know, if a player, you know, gives you 100%, you as a fan, naturally the endorphins just react. You know, you want to give them 100%. You'll cheer their name. Timo Werner's still got a song to this day, despite the performances. I think if Morata had gone down that route of just constantly always going for it, and just if he had the personality of Timo Werner, I think everything would have gone down completely differently. But because his personality was the complete opposite, and he was just very unlikable. And even when you speak to journalists, interview him, talking to him around the place, his mannerism around the training ground, just the way he acted in this moment of bad form, he was just awful to be around. He was
soft.
Toxic.
He was soft as well, man. So soft. And I mean, even to the point where he used to get criticized for some of the posts that he'd even put up with just like his misses and whatnot. And see the little things that he done. Obviously, your married life is completely different. But on the pitch, it almost was like it reflected. Because he was just, as you said, there wasn't really a will, there wasn't really a desire. He would just go about his day and you know, he'd make sure he looks good and just whatever happens. It was just like, what are you doing? His stats as a striker, not just for Chelsea, but everywhere, are criminal. It's actually criminal. How many goals he scored? Like, we're going from Juventus. Juventus is deemed as his, you could say, his best place, right?
Place, yeah.
185 games, 59 goals.
Oh, fuck. That's worse than Torres.
That's his best place.
Yeah. Is that worse?
Money laundering, bro. I completely agree. I completely agree.
How does this guy Younes keeps getting good moves? Like,
I don't understand.
What an agent for Alvaro Morata.
For real. Yeah, who's his agent?
We got 50 million for Alvaro Morata to Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
That was one of Marina's best.
Player agent, Niagara Sports Company. That sounds dodgy itself.
Niagara Money Laundering Sports Company. Do you know what I mean?
Who's on their books? Bakayoko on their books. Oh my god!
Oh my days! Agency, it's a money laundering company for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Roman was clearing some of his black money into white with this brother.
I'm gonna rank him at a straight 1. He was shit.
He was.
The only reason why he gets a 1.
Why are you giving a 1? Yeah. Why?
The only reason why he gets a 1 is because
can't even think of it.
He showed up.
That header against Atletico Madrid.
He showed up. He scored against Atletico Madrid in the comeback, and he didn't skip training, and he came to work.
He didn't skip.
He was present. He was at least present. He was here. Well done.
I'm gonna remember for the next players. If you don't skip training, that's 1 point.
He kept coming into work.
You know that thing where like you go into like an exam or even a mock exam, and they tell you if you write your name on the paper, it's a mark.
That's a mark.
Yes.
That's a mark. Yeah,
it's a mark.
He gets a mark.
He gets 1 mark.
What would you guys give him?
He would probably even get his name spelled incorrectly and just lose that mark as well. So,
Alvo.
Nah,
ALVO. Shit.
For me, this is a 0, man. This is a 0 out of 10. Yeah, it's a 0. I don't know how I even give a 1. Like, bad. I know we're going to get to another player very soon. If we can give less than 0 for that player, that would be great. But yeah, 0 out of 10 for me for Alvaro Morata. Proper flop.
Proper.
I mean, yeah, if we're talking criteria, yeah, he showed up for work. It'd be worse if he didn't show up, you know? Like, if he just like, hey, where's the manager at the time? Alvaro, where are you? Like,
Hola? Amigo.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás?
You're training today, Alvaro. You coming in?
Oh, sí. Okay, I'm coming.
I give him a 0.5 just for that.
Oof.
Wow, because I'm guessing some of those training performances weren't good. So
You look back at that Chelsea.
You wrote your name, but your handwriting was dreadful, mate. Wow.
You know what? There's a theme here. The more money we spend, the more catastrophic it gets.
Do you know what, Younes? You're laughing, but this is what I want to kind of stay away from with Chelsea Football Club. You don't do huge deals well. Stay away, man.
Be different this time. Declan Rice, let's do this.
Oh, no. I knew you were going to say that.
I just 15 more. Let's go.
Let's go for it. It's from Chelsea. Come on. Oh, no. Another one.
Kepa Arrizabalaga.
Do you know what? I'll start with this one.
Yep.
Crazy first season where he thought he was the manager at one point. He said, "No, I'm not getting substituted. You can do what you want, Mr. Sarri. I am not coming off." I still remember David Luiz going up to him saying, "Dude, you need to go."
Yeah, even Aspie.
Even Aspie. And he said, "No, not having any of this."
Even Zola was like, "Yo, come off." Brother, what are you doing? Are you taking him off or not?
Younes Zola was like, the guy, what's his name? Sacha
Baron Cohen
from Dictator. So come on, get But I have to say that Europa League, Frankfurt, the penalty saves that he made, and also some of the shots that he saved as well. First season wasn't entirely that bad. Frank Lampard's season, oh my God, he got found out hard.
Worst goalkeeping season I've seen in Chelsea history. In Chelsea history, I have not born in 1905, but I'm categorically ready to say that Kepa season under Lampard was the worst goalkeeping season I have ever experienced and has ever existed in Chelsea history.
And we had Ed Goy.
He was fucking horrendous.
He was bad.
Oh
he
my
was bad.
God.
But this season, I have to say, under Thomas Tuchel, kind of redeemed himself. Whenever he did come on, he wasn't bad. Yeah, that KDB shot, everyone knew earlier on this season when we played Man City and KDB took that punt with his right foot. You knew that was going in. A lot of people will say, oh, if Mendy had played, he gets that hand. He's got that reach. But look, he's been better. But I would still have to say it's a flop. The amount of money and the contract, boys, 7-year contract. I don't know what Marino was thinking with this one. Like, were we trying to how old was he when we signed Kepa?
About 8.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, were we trying to grow him up in Chelsea Football Club? Like, you are going to grow up in Chelsea.
He's going to be at the hair of Chelsea.
Yeah, he's going to be at the hair. Like, 7 years.
22 years old, something like that.
72 million for a backup keeper now.
7-year contract.
7-year contract. Wages are quite ridiculous as well.
27 now, so he must have been 24 when we signed him. He's had some big moments, penalty saves against Frankfurt with his knee. Penalty saves in the Super Cup. Won the Super Cup.
5 for me. 5. Yeah, 5.
It's been a better end. And I didn't expect that. I thought at one point he was finished, especially after that season. Like, this guy is done. Like, the flipping out, get him out quick. If not, they're gonna chase him out. Like, but under Tuchel, he's been patient. He's been professional. He's been the opposite of what we thought when the time happened where he decided not to come off and he was the manager. You know, like after that, I didn't expect him to turn into someone who would be happy to be a number 2, settled, professional, performs when given a chance. He's been cool. Under Tuchel, no complaints. So And even in terms of ability, he's been better. You know, so yeah, I'd go 5 as well. Split down the middle, similar sort of Pulisic vibe. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe.
It's become a penalty specialist, I'd have to say. Like he has seen us through some penalty shootouts. I know we're going to talk about the recent one against Liverpool, but I don't think we should just talk just on that. But
yeah.
He's saved us quite a few times. Overall,
big time.
One season good under Sarri, one season absolutely horrendous, then became back up for the next 2 seasons. I'm going to give him a 4. I think when you get displaced by another goalkeeper after costing that much and being on first choice money, now somebody who makes 1/3 of what you make and you're on the bench,
it's mad, isn't it?
It's not good. So yeah, I've got to go below average. He's got to leave as well. He needs to go so quickly. Like it's nuts. What? Yeah, the fee is not his fault, but it does come into it. Hence why he's on this list, and it's just horrendous what we paid.
Fee was understandable when you think of a 7-year contract. It's understandable as to why that was the fee, but why did we give it?
One of the worst deals we've ever done. One of the worst.
Baffling.
Horrendous. And
man, this list is quite crazy, man.
It's not even like he was one of the best goalkeepers in the world when we signed him. Like, again, another signing that came in and I was like, I think, do you know what helped his case in the first season as well, which needs to be mentioned before we move on? Everybody hated Courtois so much that anything Kepa did from that point onwards was always going to be looked at as really, really better than it was in his first season, because everybody hated Courtois. Courtois was a snake. So then my Kepa, because my keeper. So he got his hashtag, he got his PR, and it made him look like, oh, he's the solution. He's a great goalkeeper. And obviously Sarri's defense, like I said, was more tight-knit. Lampard's defense was only Prime Petr would have saved us then, my lord. So yeah, okay. Kepa, I'm going to give a 4. You guys all ranked him, isn't it? You gave him a 5. What did you give him?
5 as well.
5 as well. Yeah. Okay. Next player, another Champions League final.
This will be an interesting one. I think we all have something different to say about this one.
This guy, most excited forward. He was the most exciting forward that we signed in that period of Timo Werner, Ziyech, and Kai. He's the one I was 100% certain on. I know he's going to be a star. All gung ho, can't wait. So at that price point, I didn't even give a shit. We was going up against like Bayern Munich, Real Madrid for his signature reportedly. And they couldn't afford him because it was like a COVID, or what was happening back then? I can't remember. Was it COVID? I can't remember. But we just blew everybody out the water in terms of paying the price for this guy. First season, underwhelming. But I said to myself, second season, he's going to sort it out. He's young. We bought in for the potential. You know, this is a guy that's going to grow with the team, kind of like Kepa, but actually I believe in this one. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to just give it patience, give it time. He's young. He's going to improve. This season, statistically, people will look at it and say, where the hell is the goals? What's going on? But this is where the eye test comes in. I do think he's been better than he looks statistically. And what I mean by that is that even when he hasn't been scoring goals, he still had great games in the runs. There's been 2 runs where Lukaku hasn't played, where he's stood up and started in that front line and played well. When Lukaku had COVID before Christmas and then after the interview as well, that's when obviously he came in. But my issue with Kai is that he's good at everything, but he's not great at anything. And he's a player that needs to start being great at some things. Like he needs to improve his shot power. He needs to improve his shot accuracy. He needs to even improve his dribbling and get past players better and more often and show some of those nutmegs that we saw in the comps at Leverkusen. He needs to improve his vision and his passing. I want all of that to go up as well. I want the final ball to be perfect. I want more creativity, more assists. Everything really that I can think of that I could possibly want him to improve as a forward, he needs to improve. And he's got the talent to be one of the best young players in the league, but he's yet to showcase consistently that he can be. And it's always like either second half of the season or he's coming in drips and drabs. He helps us. Yes, he does help us play better and he does look good while doing things. And he's definitely had great performances or good performances this season, but it's still not enough for what we paid. So I don't know if I'm disappointed in Kai because I just got so much belief that he is going to go on to do it, but I'm definitely definitely not satisfied with Kai. I think that's the better way to put it. I'm not satisfied with what he's done or doing at the moment. How would you look at it, Miz?
Yeah, I mean, so much hype about this particular player when we got him. And I like the way how you always said, especially this season, that he should have been in the mix of being the young player of the year. Like, that's where you need to really, show your desire that that's the mix that you want to be in.
Yeah.
Look, he was the one player, if you guys remember, when I went to Club World Cup over there, watching the matches live, I was so impressed by Kai Havertz, the way he moved in the field. So graceful, at the same time tenacious as well when it needs to be. Just like you, both of you guys, like, I believe in this particular player, but he needs to improve a lot as well, as you said, in all those areas. One thing that I will say, I don't think he's a striker, but he's probably looked as someone who should be scoring a lot more goals. So he's not out and out number 9, but he's a second striker for me, or maybe a cam, but he should thrive in scoring a lot more goals. One thing that really bothers me this particular season, people talk about big chances missed. How many times have we heard that? Oh, Salah's missed this many chances. This guy's missed that many chances. People miss chances. It's not about how many missed chances. It's the conversion rate. Like, Salah could miss 10 and Havertz could miss 10. That doesn't mean both are same. Havertz could miss 10 out of 10. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Salah could get, let's say 20 out of 50. 20 out of 30, 30, and he missed 10. So the conversion rate is very important. Havertz's conversion rate is 40%. Son Heung-min, who ended up getting golden boots with Salah, was at 60 or 62%, which is very good. I think Salah was about 59. That's where Havertz needs to start thinking. Conversion rate. He needs to convert a lot. You need to be at least at 50%. Do you know what I mean? Get 2 chances, score 1. So
if we create more, though, that conversion rate won't. Is it 40%? Because that actually sounds not too bad.
40% is not great. If you look at that, if you see the top goal scorers in the Premier League, 40%. I don't know, man. 40%. Do you think that's great? Like, minimum, you'd think you'd have to be. I think it was. It was definitely.
If you put in like 1 every 3, it depends. It depends what kind of chance it is. Obviously, if it's a
that's
big,
the other thing as well. Yeah, that's the other thing.
If it's a massive chance, then fair enough. If that would be
That's a very good point, because this is where stats, eye test has to come in. Stats don't realize what is a proper chance and whatnot. But if we look back against that game, Man United recently, the amount of chances he was missing, Havertz, that day, we should have won against Man United. I remember Younes's video preview. He was like, we can't be losing against these people. Like, everyone's beating them. How are we not winning against these guys? And I said it. I remember that all weekend. I'm like, I don't feel confident, man. I don't feel confident. And when you look at that match, that should have been a 4-5-0 for Chelsea. Easy.
First half should have been 4-5.
Yeah, Havertz missed about at least 2-3. And that's the only issue. But talking about the rating for this particular player, I don't think he's been a hit yet. Could possibly be a hit down the track. I hope he is. But he's not a flop either.
No.
He's somewhere in between. I'd give him a 6.5. There's been moments where he's been very, very good. Man City, Champions League final, very good finish. He takes that well. Club World Cup, he showed good composure, especially when he stepped up for that penalty as well against Palmeiras. Was it Super Cup as well? That was Hakim Ziyech's goal. I think it was his cross. It was his cross that led to Hakim Ziyech's goal. So there's been good moments. There's been good moments. He's a player that does want to turn up in big occasions. Yeah, wasn't it his chances that Mason Mount and Pulisic missed as well in the Carabao Cup final against Liverpool? He created some really good.
He did create some really good chances. Yeah.
Really good chances where we didn't put it away. So I think he has the big game mentality. He just needs to now put it all into fruition. So 6.5 for me out of 10.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go.
Yeah, I don't think his shot conversion is 40, because that sounds way too high.
Check out.
I'm seeing. I don't know if this is correct. I'm seeing like 14.3 but I don't know if that's correct.
Goal conversion. I got this from CFC Central recently. Because he put something out where he was talking about a number of misses, and then I said, bro, I'm not really concerned about how many Salah missed and how many have. I want to know the percentage. How much are they converting? And then he had a whole list out where he talks about all these different players, and Havertz was at 40% conversion.
Depends how many shots you take as well. You know, volume is so key as well. There's so much in that.
But at the end of the day,
he's not a good enough finisher.
Yeah, at the end of the day, even if you talk about volume, it's the percentage that matters. Like it's how much are you converting?
How much in that volume? Yeah.
You know what's mad when you're talking about goals and all of that, because we had the emphasis on the fact that at Leverkusen, he was really, really good, a success, you could say. Yeah. Technically, if we're talking goals and assists, he's outperforming his time at Leverkusen by a small margin. Yeah, small margin, but he's basically on the same sort of trajectory. And right now, we're looking at Havertz, and we're like, there's a lot more he can still do. There's a lot more he can still give. So that goes to show, like, with the hype that he had from Leverkusen to how he is now at Chelsea, I mean, hopefully he goes on an upward spiral. Fingers crossed, he ends up going, sky high. But yeah, like I've seen Leverkusen, 150 games, 46 goals and 31 assists, whereas at Chelsea, 92 games, 23 goals, 14 assists, basically half and half for everything. Havertz, though, I completely agree. I think he's not a flop, but he's not a huge success. I think it'd be a little bit crazy at 21 to try and ask him to be a massive superstar already. That's not going to happen, but hopefully it does happen. And the fact that he does show on the big stage is already a good sign. It's better than not showing up at all, or showing up for just the little ones and then not when it really matters. He's already shown when it really matters that, okay, he can. There are games like the Man United game, for example, where he should be doing better and he doesn't, but hopefully he rectifies all that going forward. We'll see what he does next season. It's a big investment. It's potential. It's hoping that he ends up being one of the big guys in world football down the line. So, we'll see what happens. But I agree. I'm going 6.5.
Do you know what? He would have got an extra half for me if he stops doing and all that crazy stuff that he does. Stop that habits. Like, I would give you an extra half, but you do all that crazy stuff.
What would I give him? I'm going to give him a... I'm going to give him a 6.
Okay.
That might even be... Yeah, I'm going to give him a 6 because he's so, again, age tax. He's 23. I mean, he's 23 on June the 11th, I just checked. So him and Pulisic in particular next year, if they were to still be here, you're getting to that like 24 now, nearly 25. I need to start seeing serious development. Like, let's push these numbers. These numbers need to go up. These performances need to go up. I'm going to give him a 6. Let's go to the final person on this list. The king. The Chelsea's transfer record. Look who's back. Yeah, for the second time. It looks like as if he potentially wants to go back to another.
Apparently, there's a new hashtag, Matisse. Look who's gone.
Look who's gone. Lord have mercy.
Oh, man.
Lukaku, 97.5 million.
That's incredible.
325,000 a week.
Oof.
All to be told within about, 5 months that he would like to go back to where he came from. But it's all hearsay because, we don't know what to believe anymore. This player, I've never done a 180 on someone so quickly in all my life. And I actually feel swindled, scammed. And I feel like I've been robbed. I feel like him and Inter Milan have conspired this during their financial troubles. He's moved. They've profited massively. And then he could actually end up going back to them for a cut price.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they didn't even miss him too much either during that off season. But this player, I went against all my principles, all of my philosophy, all of my taste in football in terms of what I like to see on a football pitch. I went against all of it for him because he's more of that, as Man United fans call him, flat track bully. You know, he's one of those type of forwards. And I tend to go for more, you know, technical players, and I like my João Felixes and all these. This guy, I go down the other. I just throw it all away and said, you know what? I'm gonna go all this PR is too strong. This propaganda is too good. Look who's back. You know, it's all great. You know, you got Rock Nation involved. You got all the videos that are being posted. He's just done VIP Player of the Year, Inter Milan. He's just improved. You know, all of his statistics are looking wonderful. He's looking like a team player, and I still don't even regret what I said in terms of it looked like as if his hold-up play was better. It looked like as if he was able to create chances for others as he got loads of assists for Lautaro. We saw it even in the first 10 minutes for Belgium last night. He was holding up the ball, pinning Ake. He wants to turn. He looked like a player that had rounded off really nicely. And even though I knew he still had a few issues in his game, I thought he'd adapt to us. We'd adapt to him. He spoke a good game in terms of he can do anything that we need him to do. But most importantly, with this player, which is why, you know, I preferred Hairline, I preferred Harry Kane, I preferred Lewandowski. But what brought Lukaku up into me being okay and being like, you know what, yeah, let's get him as well, even though we can't get the rest of them, was more, not the ability, but more the intangibles. He's returning to Chelsea. He loves the club. This is his boyhood club. So, and he's got something to prove to those Man United fans. He hasn't won the Premier League. He's scored loads of goals in England, but he's not completed England in terms of trophies. So all of these little things that maybe he's gonna fall by the wayside, it's gonna make up for in his head. You know, he's grown up now. He's an adult. He's pushing 28, 29. He's gonna be mature. He's gonna be focused. He's gonna keep this slim fit, you know, body. He's gonna continue to work hard in training. He's not gonna get overweight. All of these things, I thought to myself, he's a man now. He's experienced. He's in his prime. This player. He's coming to Chelsea at the perfect time. And I also expect our chance creation to improve as well. Those players are now going to their second season. Thomas Tuchel, new manager. Let's go. Fuck me, was I wrong?
Yeah.
It's funny because at the start of his Chelsea career, he's exceeding his XG. He's scoring more chances than he's really been given. Gets that goal against Zenit. Shocking game. We win 1-0. He doesn't get any chances. Rolls over Arsenal. He's looking good, you know, actually, to be fair to him. In his opening few months at Chelsea, for a team that is barely creating any chances, Aston Villa, for a team that is barely creating any chances, he's always putting the ball in the back of the net. And I'm thinking to myself, if we actually now start to create chances for this guy, on top of the mentality and the leadership that he's bringing, he clearly wants to be here and he can't wait to, I'm like, this is going to be great. So I feel like my confidence was justified to an extent. Maybe systematically, tactically, it wasn't justified. But everything else in terms of intangibles, and I feel like it was. But this just goes to show we shouldn't feel too much in football.
Exactly. You look at it. Did he get the chances in the end? Had multiple sitters. Missed them. Did he have leadership in the end? No. Does he actually want to be here like we thought he wants to be here yet? No. We've completely misread this guy. We've done 100% error success rate, if that makes sense. We've 100% failure rate. There we are at how to read this brother. He is. We've got it completely wrong. Completely wrong. I don't even know what to say about him now. Just you don't want to be here, mate. See you later.
That early period, sorry, before you go this, that early period feels like a lot longer than it actually was. Arsenal, a goal. Yeah. Involved in the build-up play, really good, Reece James. Liverpool, not great in transition on the counter, 1-1 draw. Havertz scores that game. Great, does great at Belgium, 3 goals and an assist in 2 games. 2 goals against Aston Villa, 1 goal against Zenit. And surely I must be mistaken that surely the season started earlier, no? Like, where's... That's it. In terms of, like, the early initial...
He came late. He came late as well.
Yeah, he came late. And it's like Man City at home, Juventus away, Southampton at home, Brentford away. No goals, no goals, no goals, no goals, no goals. It feels like that period felt like a long time.
It was a long time. It feels to me like a long time ago. But yeah, you're right. It wasn't. Do you know what? This guy, where do I even start, man? I feel so cheated, man. I feel so cheated. I feel, I don't know if this has ever happened to you boys. Like, I remember, I'll give you guys a perfect example, like in my life, right? I remember once I gave this particular colleague of mine, $2,000 or $3,000. He wanted to start something, a business, and he said, Miz, it's going to be a startup. Invest on me. I'll give you X amount of cut. You know, all right, yeah, you seem like you know what you're doing. All right, fine. How much you want for investment? Just give me $2,000, $2 to $3,000. All right, so I'll give you $2,000. You know, what's my cut? This, that, everything was written. I signed and everything. I thought, okay, legit. This is great. 3 months later, that guy quit and he disappeared. And I felt like the biggest fool. I was young as well at that time, so obviously I was stupid. Some would say I'm still stupid, but that's a different story. But honestly, I feel cheated, man. I feel cheated with this Lukaku guy. There was a very good tweet the other day. I can't remember who it was, but they stated, if you guys remember, he said, you know, I'm far more developed. Yeah, my time in Inter has made me realize, you know, I can be that player. I can hold up. I can be the focal point. I can be the player that can get the ball behind the defenders and run up to it. Like the 2 years I've spent in Inter Milan, I became a huge player, this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden he comes to Chelsea and he does that infamous interview. And he states that Thomas Tuchel has changed the module. This guy has absolutely sabotaged the football club. Like, this is why, and I'm going to go straight into rating. This is a -10 for me. This is a -10 out of 10. Like, if I can. This guy has single-handedly, you know, players like Morata, who I gave a 0. You know, Younes gave 0.5. Matisse, like, at least they never sabotaged the club. Like, they were just upset with themselves. Lukaku wanted to bring the club down. Do you know what I mean? The way he talked about the club in that interview, how he was saying he never wanted to leave Inter, how he said that after Inter he expected a Bayern or a Barcelona or a Real Madrid. This guy's deluded as well. He's so delusional about his own self. He must walk in, look at the mirror and think, man, I'm the shit. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, this guy is delusional, man. He's sabotaged the football club, was a big contributor in ruining our morale last season. Yeah, obviously later on we had the sanctions and the sale of the football club and obviously injuries, but that interview shattered the fan base, man. I remember all of us, we were shattered.
Yeah.
This guy
came out of absolutely nowhere as well. Like, he had just scored.
He done it himself.
He had just scored against Villa and Brighton, and I just after finished praising him that week.
He was looking good,
getting himself back on track, returning from the injury, and then before Liverpool, bang, interview drops, and we're just looking like, what the fuck?
Do you know what? I hate saying the word fraud. One player that I associate that with is Bruno Fernandes. Like, I feel like you're a damn fraud, man. Like, do you know what I mean? But Lukaku is definitely another player. You are a proper fraud, my man. You are a fraud and a half. And Younes, you might be onto something here. I think Inter Milan, there might have been some sort of a conspiracy theory that, hey, go there. We need to financially balance our book. We get you back after, like, do something, you know, crazy, do that interview. We'll get you back. And now look at this is full circle. Like, someone needs to investigate these sort of things. There's no jokes. I swear this is no jokes. Like, we paid 92 or 100 million to balance Inter Milan's books. And untriggered interview, do you know what I mean? Showing his love for Inter Milan. Like, he didn't even get a clearance from anyone to do that interview.
Not even his team knew. His team. His agent didn't know. No one knew around him.
I'm not going to read out the quotes.
Had to rock up to his house.
Yeah. I'm not going to read out the quotes he made when he signed, because I feel like it would just trigger people into oblivion. But
and look at what he's doing now as well, boys. Like, sending his lawyers to Inter Milan. Bro, just leave, bro. You're You're a virus.
He gets a 0 from me. I don't do minuses, but he gets a 0. And if I did do minuses, he'd get a minus. But I give him a 0. The reason why I won't go into the minuses is because the only thing at least he can say is that he's scored 2 goals in the Club World Cup semi-final and final to give us that. But outside of that, for me, it's not even about really just, his adaptation. Because I always said because I defended him, after that run of goals and then he started to dry up, we clearly weren't creating enough chances for him in the first place. He was exceeding his XG. It wasn't sustainable. Defenders were scoring. And I said, give him time. Give him time to adapt to the team. Give the team time to adapt to him. And we obviously need to bring in more players. You don't change the way we play to fit someone and accommodate like that with one signing. You need a new midfield. You need some new creators. You need all these things. So give it some time. Maybe even go into the second season. It's the way that he almost tore apart his own Chelsea contract, so to speak, and went completely against the grain as to what you're meant to do as a professional in any workplace when you're representing any company or institution. And yeah, he's apologized. He's read off a teleprompter, but I always said I wouldn't give 2 shits until he started putting the goals in the back of the net and delivering on the pitch, because now he's just any other player and he hasn't done that. So for me, he gets a 0. He's run amok on this football club, to be honest, and it's a disgrace. And like you say, Miz, I think I don't like the ego as well. You look at someone like Timo Werner, very self-reflective, someone that's very accountable for his actions, understands his own limitations. Lukaku seems to think he's Jesus walking on water. He doesn't think there's anything wrong with his game or anything that he could clearly improve. When the ball's bouncing off of his foot, or he's having 7 touches in the game, or he's not actually making any movements in the box for crosses. You get these people that defend Lukaku to the highest heavens, and they say, listen, we're not playing to his strengths. We're not putting the ball in behind early enough. 100%. I see the arm. I see the hand up. I see all of this shit. And I 100% agree. Sometimes we're not putting that ball in behind. But what you don't do is start downing tools and having 7 touches and doing interviews and putting in shitty performances from yourself. It's not like as if the performances are completely down to the team. It's down to him also, and his lack of effort and commitment. And for the amount of money that he makes and for the quotes that he put out at the start of the season, since I left Chelsea, it's been a long journey with a lot of ups and downs, but these experiences made me strong. And the challenge is to try and help the team and win some trophies. I can't wait to get started and help the team achieve more success. I can keep going with these quotes. But at the end of the day, when you say shit like this to emotional fans, which is what we are and we always are going to be, when you go against that, like I say, the higher you climb, the further you fall. If you come in as a player that just says the bog standard shit and just reads, the traditional teleprompter stuff that you're given for media duties when you come in, then maybe this doesn't blow up in your face so much. But when you come in with all of this, look who's back, and you come in with these quotes and, oh, I love the club and unfinished business. You did this to yourself. Don't talk a good game if you can't back it up. It's as simple as that. That goes for anything in life. If you come into a job and you lie on your CV and you say you can do all these things, back to goal, do this, do that, I can do any job the manager asks. Now it comes to the project and you can't do what you're needing to do, you're going to get in trouble.
Or his words, he starts saying Tuchel's changed the module. Well, I thought you could do anything. I thought you could adapt to any situation. Look, with this, the one point about saying certain things, this is players like him that destroy the trust that fans have in players and what they say.
Yeah.
So when we start hearing players actually reflect or give an opinion in today's game, in today's modern football, fans can easily look at quotes and be like, I'm gonna believe him. I'm not gonna trust what any player says. They're just saying it because they want to save face, or they have a certain agenda, or they're trying to push themselves or whatever. And it's players like that kind of help destroy it for everyone. Lukaku caused this damage voluntarily. This is the shocker. It's not even a case of, not even like Morata, as you said. That was just all on the pitch, and it was a case of, right, you're just not performing. You're just playing crap. Yeah, simple as that. He's voluntarily caused all this damage. Yeah. Interview was him. No one else asked him to do it. He unsanctioned interview with Sky Italia to his house. What are you doing? Apology, teleprompter, PR. We could all read that was PR. And if anyone wanted to actually believe that was a genuine apology, feel free. But today and now, last few days, you're now seeing the you're now seeing what's reaped from that apology or so-called apology, because right now it's pretty clear that he wants to head back to Inter.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. Words are just words. He hasn't backed it up with any sort of action whatsoever. You don't want to be here. Look, what I'm going to say is this. Because it seems like Inter Milan are going to struggle to get this deal, at least on a permanent. On a loan, there's going to have to be agreements in place. There's going to have to be some sort of compromise for both sides, Inter and Chelsea, because Chelsea apparently want the option. Inter apparently want the option to buy. Chelsea are probably going to be more inclined for an obligation to buy. All those sort of things, money, wages, who's going to pay the wages if it's a loan, because Inter apparently are struggling. There's going to have to be compromise. I'd rather do something than nothing, because let's have it right. If there's nothing, I'm still not playing him. If I'm Thomas Tuchel, at this point, you're in the reserves. Yeah. I don't care if you're getting 325k a week. Yep. You ain't involved in this squad anymore. Done. You don't want to be here. Stay at home.
That's the type of ruthless. That's the type of ruthlessness that Chelsea fans are not used to. Chelsea fans are used to player power. Chelsea fans are used to players getting their own way and managers exiting. For me, this has to be a time for change. I don't want Thomas Tuchel to be forced to work with this player, even if he co-signed the player, which I'm sure he did. I'm not going to start saying Thomas Tuchel never wanted Lukaku. Thomas Tuchel never co-signed. This is why I don't always trust Thomas Tuchel's talent ID. And I would like a sporting director who, even at Liverpool, they do personality checks. They check what you've been doing throughout your career. Have you ever had any issues? How will that affect the current environment of the team? It's not just about ability. It's about how you are as a person as well. Do you mesh with the rest of the team? But just because he scored those 2 goals in those, I can't remember the 2 fixtures, and then it ended up leading up to the Liverpool game where he started, and you could say he deserved on form.
Yeah.
Against Liverpool, he was shit. And it's like, how can you have a player that costs that amount of money on that amount of wages? You can't even have them in the big games. Against Man City, shit. Against Liverpool, shit. Against Tottenham, remember when we slapped him 3 times in a month? Lukaku, still no goals in those games. We played a 2-striker system with 2 attacking midfielders. Remember, it was Ziyech and Callum Hudson-Odoi in the wings, and it was Lukaku up front with maybe Kyle or someone in the front too. All of the possible things that you would need to be yourself in that system. You had chances being created left, right, and center. 2-striker system, still nothing. So and again, a very poor game from him. I remember. So. Yeah, I just think
as well, mistakes can be made, because, let's have it right. All of us, when we heard of the Lukaku link, we were buzzing. We're all buzzing. We're like, oh my God, yeah, we're going to finally get a striker, top striker. Lukaku's coming home. Fantastic. Okay, it's all going to work. He smashed that Inter. He's going to smash it. We all thought that. I definitely thought that. We were wrong. Me too. I was wrong. That's so even on a level like Thomas Tuchel, if he co-signed, even though obviously we knew we wanted Haaland, but if he co-signed it and he was optimistic about it in the same way we were, sometimes mistakes happen. The thing is it's not even been a case of completely misreading the situation, because at first when Lukaku came in, it looked all right. It looked like, okay, this got off to a good start.
Yeah,
he's destroyed it all for himself. He has caused the damage here. It's not even. We can easily blame Chelsea for the transfer or whatnot. We've read it wrong, I believe. Yeah, even on a scouting level, we've read it wrong. Now we know it's in hindsight. At the time, we thought it was all the right decision.
But it didn't have to go this bad. It still could have been a decent striker for us at a bare minimum if he had just
completely. That's the problem. So most of the damage has come directly from him. And this is where I can't even blame Tuchel or even Marina or all of us as the fans. We all thought this was going to succeed. He's voluntarily destroyed everything. And on the little brink, I want to say this, on the little brink where we thought recently, the last few weeks, oh, you know what? Look, it doesn't seem like he's going to be going anywhere.
I didn't take my foot off his neck. Things have
personally, I didn't.
I didn't take my foot off his neck. You remember?
Yep.
I was one of those, Younes, where I thought I'll give him another chance, because I was convinced we can't get rid of him. So
this is the thing. And you start wondering, okay, look, if he's not going anywhere, let's just hope next season, we can put this all behind us and we can move along. Now, I agree with you, Matisse. Personally, for me, the damage is done. And the apology was completely insincere. And I was looking at it and going, I just want him gone. I think the energy is just too bad. It's just too bad. So now, with what's happened the last few days, he's buried.
Finished.
He's buried. That's it. It's done. It's finished. And I've read that apparently, I don't know if it's legit. I think it's Corriere dello Sport in Italy saying that Antonio Conte now is looking at Lukaku. So you know what? Look, if you want this, Harry Kane.
I don't think it'll ever happen, man. Antonio Conte is not going to let go of Harry Kane, bro.
No. Well, he ain't getting Lukaku then. or you know what? You can have Lukaku for free at this case.
Take Lukaku, play him on the right wing.
Honestly. Stick him in goal.
What are you rating him, Younes, out of
I'm with Miz, -10. Because it's not even a case of just a footballing level. It's the person, everything, the aura, what he's done to the club. Like, this has gone completely in reverse. We should be given 10s. We're giving -10s. Screw it.
And I mean, to round up, I'm not even saying performance-wise it's all been on him. I think there's times where we're not spotting his runs. I think there's times where we're not being direct. Like I said earlier, for Timo Werner, we're not very good on the counter. We're not good in transition. We're quite slow. But all of that gets pushed to the wayside when you as a professional are not professional, and you continue to not be professional. And when you've made a mistake like that, you're meant to rectify it on the pitch with performance, and you actually end up becoming even more shit by having 7 touches against teams, and it's just nuts. And he got a good run of like 7-8 games where he started as well, and he was horrendous for that time.
Let's not forget, Matisse, that miss against Real Madrid as well. That would have been, had we gone to the Bernabeu 3-2 up, 3-2 down. That would have been totally different.
Benzema puts that in the back of the net with a header. Yeah.
Well, Benzema in that particular match had 2 glorious headers, and the most easiest one of the night was Lukaku's one, literally open goal, and he hooked it. Younes is right. It was not like we've not created chances for you either. I was at Matisse, I said against Spurs earlier on.
Loads of chances.
Whipping in those crosses. Like there were times where he headed and it was wide.
How many sitters has he missed?
It's
countless. It's countless, bruv. It's
Well, there you have it. There's the verdict, people. We've done the top 10 most expensive transfers, rating, I guess, not ranking, but rating them.
I'm sure we'll add Declan Rice into that list sometime.
I think,
I'm sure he'll be a hit though. He's a hit.
We'll see. If I have no idea if that's gonna happen. But I must say, I did some digging on your man Weigl from from Benfica.
Oh, Julian Weigl. Yeah,
I'm not sure about that, brother. I'm not sure about him. I'm not sure about him. He doesn't seem the most progressive. I'm not gonna lie. He looks a bit. I mean, look, I'm not sure about him.
I'm not one that is so strong with stats and whatnot, but from the matches I've seen him for Benfica, especially obviously in Champions League, he looks like the player that I feel Thomas Tuchel is looking for that deep lying midfielder, someone who's not shy. Three or as in three centre backs.
Yeah, three midfielders. Yeah.
Yeah, he can definitely do that. I'm looking for players that are not shy to receive the ball a lot and not shy to receive the ball first. And not just being shy, it's about having the brains to know where the ball needs to get flicked straight away. Yeah. I can't have a particular player in that position where they get the ball and they need to look around and then the ball's gone. But I need you to be quick. And that's how I perceive my football with Chelsea Football Club. Now, a lot of people may say, Miz, I don't want that football. I want a Declan Rice. I want us to be quick. I want the goalkeeper to bomb it up, win the second ball, and it's a basketball game. And then Declan Rice can be very good in transition when the opposition's coming. He's going to block out all the counters. I respect if that's how you want us to play football. If you want a basketball game. I don't prefer that because for me, that's hard to take. I want Chelsea to control possession, much like Man City and much like what Liverpool's doing in recent times with Thiago Alcantara. I want us to own the game. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like Weigl's definitely not my first preference. Like for me, Basuma fits that very, very well. Basuma is very good in terms of being able to manipulate with the ball and physically and mobile as well. So, look, that's just the way I see myself.
It will be interesting to see who we end up getting. I have no idea what we're going to do because Tchouaméni was my outstanding first choice.
He was the number one pick.
And my God, he does it all. So, Yeah, it's after that. I'm not really sure. There's holes in everybody's armor after that. But yeah, Miz, let them know where to find you, bro. Been a pleasure. What a show. This has been a long one, man. They're getting treated on a Saturday. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. This is a proper podcast, man. No, they're gonna love this one. The other side of the coin, we're doing all right. We're chasing towards 13,000. So help me out with that. Nearly up to 12.5. So it's moving good. Generally about 2 uploads a day. Try and squeeze in a live here and there. I'm probably going to do a live. You guys would have seen the live before this because the live probably going to happen straight after this. Actually, I'm not even sure. It's quite late. Maybe I'll just go to bed. So we'll see. But generally you get 2 uploads. Some truth bombs, some lots of news.
Big truth bombs.
Big truth bombs. Some reactions as well, depending on what's going on. So the other side of the coin. Subscribe.
There you go. Well, guys, make sure you go and subscribe. Miz's work rate is ridiculous. Like I said, 2 uploads a day. I'm trying to look at 2 uploads a day, but I can't always do it. It's not easy. So there you go, and make sure you go and subscribe there. Younes, let them know where to find you, bro.
Yeah, you know the drill. Younes Talks Football. He's just keeping up with all the latest. I didn't upload yesterday, so today could be Lukaku day. So we'll see. But I'll see what the latest is, obviously, for today, because it's all got to be up to date. And keeping tabs on what's going on elsewhere. I'll give my thoughts on all of that as well. Hence, like, for example, Lacazette's leaving Arsenal. What a surprise. But Morata's coming in. So fantastic. So, I mean, I'll keep tabs on what's up. Transfer window's opening very shortly, next 6 days. So, just keeping up to what's up.
Mad. Yeah, it is. And guys, make sure you subscribe to the boys. It's been an absolute pleasure. What a show as well. It's probably the longest one in all week.
Longest one we've ever done.
Yeah. Not intentionally, but when you go through these names, you just realize how much madness has happened, and it has to be discussed. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Some of you may have to watch it in 2 parts, but go for it, crack on. You absolutely smashed it on the last episode, and you've been DMing me going nuts.
I was just going to say, kudos to the numbers on the last one. I think it hit nearly 12,000. And
13 now, yeah.
That's incredible, man.
They've been watching it and coming back to it, and it's been mad. So I've checked the playlist clicks, and they do love the All You Can Eat Chelsea playlist that's been created. So big up to, and hopefully one day all 3 of us will be in the same place physically, and we can actually meet some of these guys on the streets. That would be mad, or at games or something. So that would be a serious one, or a live show, or in person or something. So, but make sure you subscribe. We're so close to 25,000. I think I don't even know at this point. We're not far at all though. Maybe like a handful of numbers. So hopefully we can hit it today. There we go. 10 away. So let's see if we can get 25,000 today.
Make that happen right now.
Please, on God. So
it'll happen right today. It will happen for sure.
Hopefully, yeah. So big up for everybody for the support, and this will be the only upload for today for sure. But then obviously tomorrow we'll see. Maybe we'll do a double, but we'll see what the news is saying and what pops up. But I have got a few ideas anyway in terms of talking points that I want to discuss anyway. So until next time, in a bit, people. Peace.